Well, you have to go into things like not thinking like I'm doing this for the views.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that now. Like when you post content, you can't be like, oh, I need 100 likes or 3,000 likes. You just gotta post it because it feels genuine to you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. There's this. I forget the exact term for it, but there's like this Japanese style of business, and the whole idea of it is every time just get a little bit better. And that's like a mentality that I've kind of adopted since I read that book back in the day. To where like even, doing this podcast, or I'm sure you have this, you look at it and you're like, oh, I could add this camera, I could add this camera angle, or I could like upgrade my mic, or I could like actually write down some topics ahead of time, like whatever the hell it is. And then you're like, oh, cool. Like the first 10 podcasts you do like suck.
Yep.
And then after that, you're like, oh, I'm actually starting to get views. Yeah, it's probably because you made the quality of the product better.
Actually, do you know something? You may not know this. I know a piece of trivia about your podcast that you may not know.
Tell me.
So one of my favorite podcasts in the world is your podcast. It is called I'm Not Racist, My Friend's Black. For those of you who have not seen the show, there is a link somewhere in the show notes or on the screen somewhere. I am, and I could be wrong, I could be going the way of the Courtney here and be wrong about something I totally think I'm right about, is I am the longest episode you've ever done.
Are you?
Just under 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Wow.
I think it was yours, and then maybe like HJ. We weren't really long, but his. I was like looking at because we got the same mixer as you.
Yeah.
So I was like looking at the clock, and I was like, let's let it ride.
Yeah.
I was like, we're about to break the record. She probably had no idea. She's probably getting tired, and I'm just like, no, let's just.
Feeding you soul food.
Yo, that was so fun. So we did. And again, there'll be a link to the episode, but we did a soul food challenge where basically Courtney put a Gucci blindfold on me because that's how we roll there, and I was fed soul food. I was fed 4 different dishes, and what was it? If I guessed 3 out of 4, I got my black card. Is that what it was?
That's exactly right. You did get your black card.
And I got my black card.
You did get your black card.
What does that entitle me to?
I mean, not much, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're down. You're down with the culture.
I'm down with the culture. Yeah.
But we already knew that, so it's all good.
We already knew that.
We already knew that. So.
I feel good about that.
So
How do you feel about that?
Congrats for having the record.
Yeah.
Because for people that don't know me, I'm a DJ. I'm in cheat codes, and there's something about. You can have like long DJ sets. Like there's like a subculture of DJs that they'll do like 7-hour DJ sets,
you serious?
Right? And it's just like raw, and it's just about like catching a vibe and just basically being a zombie in the club. Like you're just like, it's not about playing the most hit songs, it's just about catching a vibe.
Yeah.
So with this, I was like, maybe nobody watches this, but let's just let it ride and see how long we can go,
I went back and rewatched parts of it. It was really entertaining.
It really was.
I thought it was super fun.
Yeah.
It was.
Dude, it's incredible. So so let me back up for a second. So Courtney is an amazing model. I love that you're a model and you do all these amazing things, but I just think you're so effing hilarious and so much fun. And I miss you guys so much. Like last time we hung was when I actually came to your house to do one of your houses to do your studio house to do the show. And you just do amazing work. So tell us some of the people you worked with besides obviously if you're watching this and you're seeing Courtney's face and you're like, I think I bought some loungewear from Walmart or some jeans from the Gap with her face on it. You did.
Yes,
you did. But who else have you worked with? I know Savage Fenty. Who else? Tell me all of them.
Savage Fenty, Target. I do a lot of Target commercials. I'm currently in a campaign for Pretty Little Thing.
Nice.
Who else? Estee Lauder. I'm the first curve girl to ever shoot for La Mer.
No way.
That's huge.
That's amazing.
I know.
When was this?
About 2 years ago.
No way.
Yeah. So what else?
You did like a Target commercial. You done like Walmart.
I mean, I've done Walmart. I've done Forever 21. I've literally done it all. Kohl's. Fucking everything you could think of, I've probably done it.
That is amazing.
It's great because somebody that's from the Midwest and has like...
Shout out Minnesota.
Yeah, like Midwestern moms that are shopping. They got the Kohl's card, the Kohl's points, all that. Like they think Courtney's a celebrity over there.
She is a celebrity.
No, I'm not a celebrity, but yes.
If I was from like anywhere else, they'd be like, oh, cool. But like, she's in Kohl's?
Yeah. Wait, are you from Minnesota?
I'm from Minnesota.
And you're from Missouri?
Missouri,
yes.
Yeah.
How did this happen?
Oh, our relationship?
Yeah. I need to know. See, y'all acting sweet now, but like right before we started filming, it was all this argument and screaming and yelling and throwing stuff.
Okay, so we met on this app called Raya.
I know Raya. I love that you're talking to me like I'm like a 60-year-old with
you know what? Some people are
grandkids.
like, what the fuck is Raya?
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so we met on Raya. And our first date, he flew into New York because he was on tour. Were you in New Jersey on tour?
I don't know, somewhere on the East Coast.
Somewhere on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So he flew in, and he took me on our first date, and he took me to Broadway, and he took me to see Aladdin.
Baller.
You
Baller.
say baller, but I was actually kind of surprised. Like, it wasn't really that like maybe like $100. I think,
No, but not even
tickets.
money. What
Yeah.
effort? Like
Effort.
thoughtfulness.
Okay, yeah.
100%. This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then we've been in love ever since.
How
That was it. That was all I had to do. I love that. No, I'll take that.
Yeah.
That's literally all it took. I was just like locked. I was locked to that. Cool.
Yeah.
Sick.
But you know what though is funny? Like we're laughing about this,
Yeah.
but seriously, I think nowadays, because I'm obviously in the dating world now,
Yeah.
men who are thoughtful, that's the bar.
Yeah.
There's plenty of girls I date, and like I'll ask questions that I think are super normal questions to
Yeah.
be curious about, like what they care about.
True.
And like, oh, guys don't ask those questions.
I would say that, and then I would also say attention span.
Yeah.
Because a lot of younger people don't have attention span. So if you can be like, oh, I'm actually on a 12-hour date and I'm not on my phone.
Right.
Huge.
Points. I win
Huge.
points.
Right.
That is incredible. What year was this?
It was like
Dude, that-
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah.
That is crazy.
I know.
And been in love ever since.
2.5 years ago.
Yeah. in
Amazing.
love. Just in love. And you know what? It's really healthy because I feel like you don't find that often. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not like worried about him like on Instagram, like liking girls' pictures and like, you
And
know.
you guys are apart a lot too, because you're traveling around.
oh my
and
God.
yeah.
We spend so much time apart and we don't
She
live
was just
together.
in Tulum, Mexico
Yeah.
last weekend, and then the weekend before, we were both in Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
Wait, when were y'all? I was in Miami too. When were y'all? Did we miss each other?
Not last
No way.
weekend, but the weekend before.
That was that.
No, you were not.
Like until the March 5th, like March 1st or the 5th or something.
We played 4 shows in 2 days in Miami.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, so Matt is a part of Cheat Codes,
Yes.
which is an amazing group. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, man. You actually fulfilled one of my dreams. Okay.
Oh God.
You were on Fallon.
Yes, we were on Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel. This was like 2017, I want to say 2017, 2018.
This is with Demi Lovato. You did the No
Yeah.
Promises song.
No shade on Jimmy Fallon, but he was like he did like the no, it's not shade.
Oh, okay.
I like giving people like the peer behind the curtain.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
please,
It
yeah.
was like we do the performance. We actually did it 3 times because the first time Demi Lovato said fuck because she fucked up the lyrics and she said she was like fuck. 'cause
Oh,
she
no
She
way.
messed up the
Yeah.
lyrics of the song. So we did it 2 more times. He came out like after the second time or whatever, shook our hands, was like, oh, Jimmy Fallon, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Then he left. He was just like, I'm going to go home and like just chill with my family or whatever. And then we did it a 3rd time just while he wasn't there.
No
so that was
way.
like my first late night like situation like that. And, you know, I was in New York and it was the whole thing. And I was like, this is, you know, you kind of have those moments where you're just like, this is not necessarily what I expected it to be,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I get it at the same time. So
Did you get to interact with him at all besides
that
him
was
just
it.
coming out?
That was it. Just
Okay.
him at the end, just be like, nah, late night, like, whoa, Chico's Demi Lovato, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And it's like, all right, cool, peace out.
He's
Like-
out. Yeah.
But Jimmy Kimmel was different. He was more like chilled, like backstage, like
yeah.
really having conversations with us, like, what's up, what's
Really?
up. So maybe it's just the East Coast versus West Coast kind of vibe, you know? You like
Interesting.
New
Oh, 'cause
York, you
Kimmel's
get,
out here, right?
Kimmel's on LA, you know?
okay.
Yeah, it's more chill vibes, you know?
Yeah, I get that.
That is so dope.
It's
Yeah.
different styles, you
It's
know?
different styles.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Well, and you guys have done stuff with all kinds of different artists. You've done like
Yep.
Wiz Khalifa, not Mia Khalifa. That would be weird, I think.
The porn star.
Yeah, it
no,
would
yeah,
be fucking weird.
I
Yeah.
don't think she does music.
You never know, man. A lot of people think they can do
Yeah,
music once they do something else.
DJs,
Yeah. But you've done stuff with like U2. You guys did like a remix with U2 or something at some point
that's
too.
actually an obscure thing to find. You just Wikipedia
Wow.
this. Yeah.
I created the Wikipedia.
Right. Damn.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird one because I think they were just trying to do like reach out to different fan bases, different genres and stuff like that. Because they did a remix with Kygo as well, and then they had their album and they're like, we want to do something with cheat codes. And the cool thing about that was we actually wrote a whole different verse.
Oh, nice.
So it wasn't just a remix. We actually did different vocals and wrote different lyrics and stuff. So that was pretty cool because we were going back and forth with Bono, and he was on the phone. And he's got his thick Irish accent. He's like super particular, and we're like, this is just funny.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was like one of those situations. So
Was it surreal to like be having those conversations?
actually,
We just had this
forgot about
conversation, yeah.
So before this podcast, we went to this place called Rose.
Rose Cafe.
Yeah, Rose Cafe.
Yeah,
Rose Cafe. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so
that's
yeah,
I love
when
Rose
we were
Cafe.
working on the remix, we had. This is how involved U2 is with all their stuff. Because if somebody were to do a remix of our song, we listen to it, we give a couple notes, and that's it. It's not. That's it. We're not going that deep.
Yeah.
But U2 was like, yo, we got to nail this remix. Let's get lunch. So we literally had lunch with Edge, the guitar player
Yeah.
of U2, and just sitting for hours just discussing his vision for everything. And we're like, bro, you're not that you're doing too much, but like I wouldn't be spending that, especially if I was in U2. I'd just be like, oh, just do the remix. So that just shows how like professional and like cool they are. And they invited us to their show in LA, so we got to see them for free. And I think it was at the Forum, and yeah, so that's just an example of how like detail oriented they are, and that's probably a big reason why they're so successful. You know?
Oh yeah, I'm obsessed with anybody who dedicates real mastery to their craft. Yeah, right. Like both of you have dedicated so much mastery to your craft, and 100%. To me, it's like I don't care what the craft is. It could be water polo. Like I just like people that really put in that work. It's incredible. Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. Wait, so did you guys meet at Rose Cafe? With you too?
I met Edge.
Okay, you met Edge at Rose. Yeah. That is crazy.
Yeah, we had brunch with him or whatever.
Is he fucked up that I don't know who that is?
He's just the guitar player for U2.
Okay, cool, sick.
So Bono's the lead singer, Edge is the guitar player. They're kind of like the faces.
We should have like a counter on the screen of the number of times Courtney's getting canceled from not knowing.
Nah, she wouldn't get canceled for that. But
fucking black people listen to motherfucking YouTube.
Yeah. But I will say this: it's like the whole cancel culture thing. It's like. When we did the remix for U2, their fans hated it.
Really?
They're rock fans. They don't care about electronic music. They don't care about any of that. Yeah, so all of their fans hated it. A lot of our fans were probably like, who the hell is U2? Yeah. And then there was a few like radio programmers that loved it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like anything you do that's creative and you're like, oh, I'm doing cutting edge and I'm spending a lot of time, there's no guarantee that everyone's going to love it. And sometimes you're just making art for a specific group of people, and you got to be okay with that. Yeah. That's why I'm telling we were telling you this story with Courtney where we crafted this piece of content and knowing that there was going to be a lot of haters, and sometimes it's just hard. You got to have that mentality of I'm okay with not everybody loving this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever creative content you're creating, you know?
Yeah. And we're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into that deeper because I think that's a really important thing to talk about. And actually, and tell me too, Matt, so you weren't even initially a DJ. Like you were focused more on like songwriting and things like that. And then the DJ part came like as a necessity once cheat codes started blowing up. Is that kind of how it worked?
Yeah. So I used to be a hip hop producer. And I used to be in a hip hop project actually. So I would like sing, produce all the tracks. And I had a guy in the group named Taz who rapped, and then that kind of did its own thing. And I started the project and with cheat codes, and we had like 5-6 songs out before we started touring. So we started getting booked for shows, and I had no idea how to DJ. Yeah. So the first show was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. We like opened, it was like a small club, like 100 people in San Francisco, and it was like house DJs. Yeah. And we're playing like pop songs basically with no transitions. There's no like beats really. It's like one song is 100 BPM, the next is 120, the next is 130. It doesn't make any sense. Yep. It was horrible. So that's just a little example. You know, you're not going to be good right away.
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes you just got to dive in and just not give a fuck.
Yeah. 1,000%. And actually, it brings up something for both of you I'd love to know, because this is something that I remember somebody saying, I've heard this a bunch of times from people, and I've even thought it myself, that there is something you can do when you're in creative work or any kind of work where you're building something that you want to have out in the world, that there's a such thing as a big break, right? And I have my own take on the concept of big breaks. I'd love to know, what do you guys think about the concept of big breaks when it comes to getting to the level of success you both had in your respective careers?
Oh, okay. So just like a little short story. So I never really wanted to model, right? I just knew that I was doing all these cool things. Like I had an internship with Quincy Jones, and like I was doing all this crazy shit when I was really young. I was working for the BET Awards for this company called John Cassette Productions, and I was working for the Hip Hop Awards, the BET Awards, and doing all these crazy things, but not sure how I was getting these opportunities. Yeah. So I started working at the Soho House in Malibu. Okay. And
that's for those who don't know, like that's the one.
Huge.
That's
huge.
the big one.
That's her big break.
That was kind of my big break. But the thing is that I always tell people is like, I was such a kind person, and I was always very like eye on the prize type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And so I wait on this table every single week when they would come in. It was this gay couple, and they were so fabulous, but they were very high maintenance, okay? And nobody ever wanted to take this table because they were low-key kind of fucking rude. Yeah. But to me, I was like, nothing is personal, so whatever. Right. Took this table every single time they came in. Ended up going out one night in Hollywood. I think I was like at the Soho House, but in West Hollywood. Okay. Yep. End up seeing them out, and they're like, "Oh my God, what's up, girl?" Like super warm, super welcoming. They introduced me to their best friend, who ended up being best friends with the director of Wilhelmina.
Interesting. Okay.
So I ended up getting that break through her, but the only reason that shit even transpired was because I was always so cool to them, and like I always kept this relationship of like just love. Do you know what I'm saying? Yep. And I don't think that if I had been one of those people who's like, I don't want to take this table or whatever, I would have gotten that opportunity.
Yep.
And so honestly, that shit just fell into my lap, and I had no resistance to it.
Yep. And then once you got in there though, so like now you got in, now what?
You know, I mean, honestly, things, because I have no resistance to it, and it's not like something I'm like holding on to, like I'm so scared to lose it. Everything is coming so naturally to me. And like, you know, when I don't get a job, like I'm up for really big jobs, like huge jobs that you wouldn't even believe, like 100K jobs, and I don't get them. But because I have no resistance to it, and I'm like, okay, cool. Shit is just all good.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that kind of was like my big break, I feel like.
Okay. What do you think, Matt?
But I think that's a good story because most people wouldn't look at, oh, I got a job at a restaurant and that's going to lead to my big break.
Yep.
Right.
So you have to be a yes man or be open, like you said, no resistance to all the opportunities coming in your life, even the ones that aren't exactly what you want. And then that'll lead to the big break.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
In some form. Yeah.
Right.
And so how did it work for you? Because I know you came out here and you were like, what, 19 when you came to LA and didn't really have a whole lot of the music stuff going yet. So what was your kind of break, if you think you had one?
It's kind of a little bit more complicated for me because I've been doing music since I was like 9.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of different layers. And I would say for my story, I think that's another example of just, my story is more about persistence because sometimes you have little breaks and then they lead to the big break, you know? So, I mean, I've been doing music forever. I used to be in like pop punk bands, and then I did like a electro pop project with this like female friend of mine named CC Fry. Shout out CC. She ended up being on the X Factor with like Fifth Harmony, and she was like one of the top 10 people. But for our like area of the Midwest, we had this song that we just wrote. It was very natural, like, her whole thing was she was a really good singer, but she was horrible at writing songs. So we were in college together, and my thing was like, I just had that mentality of like, I'm just trying to win however I can, even if it's like helping somebody else win or however it is, I'm down for that.
Yeah.
So she was actually doing like country music at the time, and I was like, you're not good at writing music. I'm not even a country writer, but I'll write country music for you, and you'll just sing it. And she was like, okay, cool. So I wrote like 2 country songs for her. She was like, this is great. Let's try something else. We wrote like a weird like electro pop song, and it just blew up in that town that we went to the college. It was on the top 40 radio station. It was like the first time my song was on the radio. I was like 19 years old, like in the Midwest. And from there we just started touring the entire Midwest together. And that's when I got my taste of like, oh, like this is the music industry. You know, we weren't signed. We was all independent. We were doing everything ourselves. We were broke. We weren't really making any money.
Yeah.
But just to get some of those accolades, like we had fans, we had people like, you know, fangirling over the stuff that we were doing. So that was my first experience. And then from there, because of that project, I had people hit me up on Facebook like, hey, we're moving to LA. We know about your project. We're looking for another roommate so that our rent is cheaper. We're all from St. Louis.
Yeah.
Are you down to come with us? And I just said yes. I didn't know these people at all.
Really? Just
wow.
I had no clue.
I had no idea who they were. So because I was in that project, I just said yes, and I just trusted the process, and I moved to LA with like $3,000 in my bank account. That was it.
Same.
No, I didn't know anybody.
Dude.
I didn't know anybody at all, and that was it. And that's when I met the other guys in Cheat Codes, and we started the project, and you know, everything kind of happened from there. So
that is crazy.
So like I said, I think there's different levels to it. But I mean, even when I moved to LA, I mean, I was still working at Cold Stone Creamery and working as a waiter for like 2 years before.
Where'd you work as a waiter?
I worked at a place called Samba in Universal City. It's like it's a what's called a churrascaria. It's like a Brazilian steakhouse.
I love that word.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was a good pronunciation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you pay
Brazilian daddy.
you pay like one set price, and then I was for the first one I was called Picanha. It was like a Brazilian churrascaria in Burbank, and I was like what's called a gaucho.
Okay.
A gaucho, you bring out the meat on these giant sticks.
That's when they bring around the meat to every table.
And I was like carving the meat for you. Yeah.
No way.
And then later I went to a different Brazilian spot, and I was like a server, and I was like, that was when I started making the big bucks, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So I did all that, and at the same time I was like hustling on music, but just trying to like pay my bills or whatever. I met the guys in Cheat Codes. But I mean, the whole success story with Cheat Codes is like, our mentality was, we're going to do a song every month. And we don't care what happens after that. We're just going to do a song every month. We did everything ourselves. We were doing the production, the writing, the recording, the mixing, the mastering, the art. I was like I designed the logo that we still use. I designed like back in the day. We had our very first music video. We had like a $1,500 to $2,000 budget, and we literally had like a 30-person production crew on it because they were all in the last semester of their film degree, and they had access to all this film equipment, so they all did it for free because they needed a final project to graduate their school. Wow. And we had this crazy production music video that we paid like $1,500, $2,000 for.
Wait, this wasn't the sex video, was it?
No, it's called Visions, and which is even weirder than that video. This video, the basic of the video, this is our first video ever, so if you can find it, amazing to you, it's worth watching. All right. So we had 3 elderly ladies, and the whole idea of it is we had these like glasses on, and we have them on. It's like a shallow hal effect where they look like these young, beautiful women. Yep. So basically, we're making out with old ladies. we actually made out with them, and one of them was like my neighbor. She was like elderly, like in her 70s. You did not make out with her. Yeah, I did. I swear to God.
How do you feel about that, Court?
I mean, shit.
I don't remember if I did tongue. I have to rewatch.
You don't remember?
It was a while ago.
You fucking remember? Was there tongue or not tongue?
I don't remember if I tongued down that elderly woman.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. It was a blur at that point. So, but you can make anything happen that you set your mind to.
Right. You got to tongue down an old ass lady.
You can make out with the elder lady.
We have this inspiring story of consistency and resourcefulness that has now gone into tonguing down the elderly. No, but I love what both of you shared though, because it really does align with what I think. I don't necessarily believe in big breaks. I think it's like a lot of consistency over time, a lot of eating shit, a lot of like doing what you can do, a lot of being of service, a lot of mastering your craft, and then something happens, like a big opportunity happens, like you meeting these people who connected you. But that just got you in the door. Now you have to continue mastering your craft. You have to continue making music. You have to continue doing these things. So
it never stops. Everyone's always like, "What have you done recent? What have you done lately?"
Exactly.
Like the thing.
Totally.
That's the big thing. So I love that though, because I want people, because we have a lot of people who watch the show who are entrepreneurs or they're coaches, or they're building something new, and they think that within like a month or two, it should be what it's supposed to be. And
we're like 5-6 years in before anything got crashed.
And even with the podcast, like how many episodes did we do where we didn't get like any views, and then just an unexpected video is like, oh cool, we got like 3,000 views on that, or like whatever it is. So
well, you have to go into things like not thinking like I'm doing this for the views.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that now. Like when you post content, you can't be like, oh, I need 100 likes or 3,000 likes. You just got to post it because it feels genuine to you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
There's this, I forget the exact term for it, but there's like this Japanese style of business. And the whole idea of it is every time just get a little bit better. And that's like a mentality that I've kind of adopted since I read that book back in the day. To where like even, doing this podcast, or I'm sure you have this, you look at it and you're like, oh, I could add this camera, I could add this camera angle, or I could like upgrade my mic, or I could like actually write down some topics ahead of time, like whatever the hell it is. And then you're like, oh, cool. Like the first 10 podcasts you do like suck.
Yep.
And then after that, you're like, oh, I'm actually starting to get views. Yeah, it's probably because you made the quality of the product better.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. And always being like, it's something we usually have discussions about after the episodes are over and we're done filming and the guests leave. I sit here and say, cool, what could I have done better? Like just right away. And then of course I go back and watch the whole episode and make sure that like I'm pulling things out. But I think it's a commitment to mastery over time. And a lot of people just don't want to do that. Ryan Holiday, do you guys know Ryan Holiday? He does a lot of stoic stuff. He wrote a book. Actually I think there's one of his books is up there. It's Ryan Holiday. Stillness is the Key. So it's a lot of stoic stuff.
The top one.
The very top one. But he also, he's also a marketer. So I think he wrote a book. His first book I think was called like Trust Me, I'm a Marketer or something like that. And it's about kind of the behind the scenes stuff. But he wrote a book called Perennial Seller about creating things that like stand the test of time. And one of the things he says in the book is that for people who want to write books, a lot of people want to have a book. They don't want to write a book.
Right.
True.
Right. And that's so true, I think, in all these creative endeavors. A lot of people would
I'd love to have a book.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to play Ultra, right? Yeah. But do you want to do the work to play Ultra, right? I would love to be a Wilhelmina model. Well, do you want to do the work to be a Wilhelmina model? So there's just something about that. I hate to say work ethic because the word ethic, I think, then implies like morality and all that stuff. Yeah. But just the willingness to sincerely devote yourself to a craft over time.
But there's like certain areas in your life that you're really passionate about that you're kind of like sadistic in a way of like, I'm willing to endure the pain.
Right.
To write a book.
Yep.
you
have to be. It is borderline sadistic. It is very.
It's like, I'm willing to play 4 shows in 2 days and be like throwing up before one of the shows.
Yep.
I'm gonna tell y'all something.
Tell me. The Truly's kicking in. What's happening?
So So his last show, I pulled up on him. So he had played 2 shows on Friday.
Yeah.
And I pulled up on Saturday. I flew to Miami to see him. And he was like throwing up. Like the next day. And I'm
I was hungover. It's when your endurance.
Yeah. And I feel like that hasn't happened
social
to us in
endurance
so
is just
long.
gone.
Yeah.
But then, so
sure.
we played his show that night, and then a nurse came to the show and gave us IVs, like during the show. And I'm like, well, after the show, sorry.
Yeah.
And that really
That's
saved our lives.
some real rock star.
It is
shit
some real
right
rock
there.
star shit.
IVs, no, but seriously, like, also when I would fly like overseas, I would always get an IV before I went, and I would always feel amazing once I got there. Like the Myers
so
cocktail, the glutathione, they probably did all that stuff with you for
B-complex,
the B complex, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Dang, that's a lot. But and you guys
It saved me because we had a show after that. So I played the show.
Dang.
I threw up right before we went on stage because I was going to be too nauseous with stuff in my stomach to perform for an hour or whatever. Play the show. We got the IV.
Yep.
Then about an hour later, we hit the stage again. And I was great. I felt great.
Yeah, you felt
So
great.
here we go.
Yeah, and y'all don't do Kenny G shows where you're sitting there, with the flute or whatever. You're jumping up and down and going crazy for hours.
In Miami right now, it was a bit uncomfortable because we could barely move.
It's packed.
Yeah,
They say it's limited
Packed.
capacity, but it doesn't really feel like it.
No,
it
is
was
not.
nothing about being in Miami a couple weeks ago felt limited capacity.
Oh yeah, you were there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
nothing at all
No,
felt
no,
like
no,
limited
no.
capacity.
No.
Wow, that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Something else I thought was really funny. Oh, by the way, so here's something really interesting.
Yes.
I don't know for sure if this is true, but Maddie, I found this on your Instagram. I'm pretty sure this is this the first night we actually all hung out together?
Yes.
It was, right? This
my
isn't this
God.
amazing?
I was.
This is after I was crying.
This is after you were crying because you had the interaction with Shaman Durek.
Oh my God.
And something like major happened.
I'm totally like fucking like eyes
You were
red.
zoned.
Oh my
You
God.
were zoned.
I was so zoned.
So this was our very first time all hanging out and meeting together, which is super fun. With Vish, it was Vishen's birthday, right? Yeah, Vishen's birthday.
Yeah.
And so that's how we kind of first all got connected. And I remember I was in Croatia. I was in Pula for a month, and in summer of 2019. Yeah, 2019. And
As were we though.
And you were too. You were there for Ultra.
Yep.
So you were that was Split, right? Split Croatia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you guys were in Split, and Sammy Shoebox Moses, DJ Sammy, shout out DJ Sammy. He was with us in Pula for the month for this Mind Valley thing, and then he went to Ultra. Somehow snuck his ass into wherever y'all were because he wasn't even supposed to be there, I don't think. But that's just Sammy.
Yeah.
And he ends up sending a video back of Matt talking about that he does like the Mind Valley meditations. And I'm sitting there with Vishen when he gets the video, and
Yeah.
we're both looking at this thing, and that was the first time I saw you, and obviously I didn't know you yet.
Yeah.
And this is like how the whole like Mind Valley thing brought us all together. So you've been doing meditation for a while then, yeah?
Well, that moment was weird because I think we just got off stage. I'm assuming it was after stage, and we're like a little bit drunk. And then he shows me this video of Vishen just being like, "What up, Matt?" Like,
Yeah, you look fanboy.
I was like, "This is weird." Like, I don't know. But it's just the environment that we were in. It was just like weird. There's like people half naked, like dancing, like on Molly, and it's like, Vishen is.
Yeah.
I mean, at least he portrays himself as this like mindfulness guy and like health and wellness, and like we're just in this heap of debauchery in Croatia. I was just like,
pretty open-minded. He's pretty
I didn't
open-minded.
expect that to happen where we were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's another example. It just happens when you least expect it. You know,
Just
If
random
you're just open
connections.
to if you're just open to those connections in general, you might find them even in the path doesn't seem right. You know?
Yeah, it's so true.
But yeah, I've been doing meditation for a while. You meditate a lot.
Yeah, I do.
But Mind Valley, I don't know if you mess with Mind Valley,
Well,
but
we did the relationship thing. Didn't we do that?
are you talking about what's it called?
We did
The
this
book.
the book thing.
Life book.
Oh, Life Book,
We did
yeah.
Life Book together.
Oh, Life Book is so good. Did you guys enjoy that process?
I did. We did.
So I did it with John and Missy at their house in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
It was I love John and Missy. Shout out
seem
John and
super
Missy.
cool, yeah.
They are insanely amazing, just as a couple and as parents. Like they're the coolest parents ever.
Yeah.
They're like the parents everybody wished they had. But Life Book was a really transformational thing for me as well. So you guys did that together, and so how was that process of like doing that? Was there a lot of surprising things? Did you guys see that you were super on the same page with a lot of stuff?
I don't think I really checked yours out.
I didn't
though.
check yours either.
Okay, we kind of did it separately. I
Okay.
guess.
Separately.
Okay, but maybe
We
you guys
did.
should like
Right,
share
we
a
should.
little
Yeah,
bit.
I still have it.
Yeah.
If you ever want to.
Yeah, so I mean, I just think getting clarity on what you want is very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
So that was for me. This is a good tool to do that, and yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime you're kind of like stuck in life, I feel it's because you're conflicting on what you want.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right? I mean, would you agree with that?
Wait, what are you laughing about?
Because this is his favorite word is conflicting.
No,
Because he
word.
knows I have so much conflicting energy that every time I hear him say it, I'm just like,
What conflicting energy do you have?
oh my God, don't.
You know how like
even.
there's just a different communication style sometimes with the male brain than the female brain, where
Totally.
like guys take everything girls say like word for word and like rational and if they contradict each other at all, you're like, your brain just explodes as a guy.
Yeah.
But to girls, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, but it's just.
But it's weird though, because I'm on the other side of that. So I was raised by a single mother in a salon environment.
Yes.
So like women's energy and women's minds are kind of like what I was brought up on. So I kind of default more to that side. And then it's funny how sometimes I attract women who think like dudes.
Wow.
And so it's, or traditional dudes, like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's so weird to see that dynamic. That like that can be on either side of like how you process things, how you take things literally. And I think the more conscious you get, the more work you do on yourself, the more you're able to like flow back and forth and be like, okay, I could take that word for word, but maybe there's something else there.
And we were talking about this earlier, but there's a trigger and an instinct for males to hear a complaint and immediately think they need to solve a problem.
To fix it, 1,000%.
But it's not. That's not
like,
what it's
no,
about.
I just need you to
Just shut up.
Yeah, just listen to me. I don't need you to fix it.
You know what I mean?
But yeah,
that was something with my ex-wife. Anytime she was like stressing out about something, we always had this thing, and I would come to her and I'd say 3 options, right? I can fix it, I can help you fix it, or I can shut up and listen. And I would give her the option. You
need to
pick.
adopt that.
You pick. Which
I'm down to adopt that. Yeah,
please.
I don't care.
Yeah.
There you go.
We need that.
Because then it makes it. Then you're not guessing.
Guys don't care. They just want to know what to do.
They just want to help in whatever way they can help. Yeah.
Just shut up and just listen.
And there you go. Option 3.
I'm not going to be sitting there and be like, I don't want to listen. I can't take it anymore.
It's
like, hey, if you want to like live a crazy life where you don't know what you want to do, that's like fine.
Yeah. I think your energies are so complementary though. Like that's what I love about you guys. Like you're both so fun, but like I feel like Matthew has more of the stoic in him. And then you have more of the fire in you. But it's like
100%.
fire and water. You guys you balance each other out really well.
Yeah, we got into a fight this morning, and immediately, like, to stop the fight, I'm like, okay, sit down. I'm gonna play my sound bowls. And
that was actually legendary. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, come sit over here.
This is the first time you've ever made that suggestion when you guys were in a fight?
but whenever we do fight, I do it on my own.
Yeah.
But I just was like, you know what? Like, he's here. Sit down.
Nice.
And so I played my sound bowls, and I like made him close his eyes, and I like cleanse his chakras with this like 528 hertz thing that I got from Shaman Durek.
Yeah.
I'm like cleansing his chakras, and I like lit a Palo Santo, and then I read his tarot because I read tarot, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so weird when you're in a weird vibration, and she starts doing something like that, and in your mind you're like, this shit ain't gonna work. And then you start and you're like, I already feel better. It's just like, that's what it is. It's like, what's the phrase that I always know in my head? It's like, if you can't meditate for 20 minutes, then you should meditate for 40.
Yeah, totally.
So true, man.
100%.
So true.
I agree.
What's your meditation practice look like now, both of you?
Okay, so I have something called Insight Timer.
Okay, I know Insight. Yeah.
And then it's just usually like if I have anxiety or if I feel guilt or if I feel like I'm not doing enough, and if I feel like I can't stop being busy, then I'm like, okay, that means I need to relax. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'll choose like a certain amount of time. I usually don't go over 30 because it just doesn't feel good to me. I'm just like, I'm more of like a 25er.
Yeah.
And so I just meditate, and I'm a guided meditation listener.
Okay.
Because sometimes it's hard for me to clear my mind, but if I can hear something that I can focus on, like someone's voice, then it's a lot better for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm probably like per week, 3 or 4 times max.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Have you done Visions, the 6-phase meditation?
I have not.
It's like 20, I think it's like 20 minutes, 20-ish minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes. Yeah. And it's a guided thing. He just walks you through these 6 different phases, and like there's gratitude and compassion and visioning and perfect day and all these things, and he just walks you through
Where
it.
can I find it?
On YouTube. It's free.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Love it.
6
Okay,
phase.
cool.
We'll put a link in the show notes too. 6-phase meditation.
please.
Shout out.
Yeah, that was one of the OG ones that got me into meditating. 6-phase meditation. It's good for like visualizing your day, visualizing what you want, being puts it all together in one thing. But now I got into like transcendental meditation.
Oh, cool. So you trained in TM. I did the same thing.
I did the same. Yeah, exactly. Like one of their centers. Yeah.
You have to go to one of their centers to get trained. 4-day thing.
that?
Yeah, I told you about that.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Why you ain't listening, Courtney?
I'm sorry. I thought that's not Landmark, is it?
No, this is. Remember, I was like, oh, if you want, I could pay for you to go to this center, and they teach how to do TM. It's like
when did you do that?
couple $100. I did it like years ago.
Oh, okay.
It was
but
like a 3 or 4 day thing, right? Wasn't it like 3 or 4 days? Yeah. And they give you a mantra that you're never supposed to share with anybody.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the main thing I don't know. Maybe it's like superstitious with like the mantra thing.
Yeah.
But the main thing is you're just tuning to a frequency. So when you do the mantra in your mind, it's kind of like the same thing with the sound bowls, where you're tuning to a frequency, and then it allows you to let go of a lot of these thoughts that you're having, and allows you to physiologically relax and all that. 20 minutes. To pretty much do it every day, and then sometimes I try to do it two times. You're supposed to do it 2 times a day.
2 times a day. That's hard for me too.
It's hard, bro. It's hard. But when you do, it's like, okay, you can kind of be more productive. You can get 2 in.
Yeah. For sure.
It's kind of like if you can do it like a midday one at like 4 or 5, like that's your second one, then you're like, cool.
Yeah.
I can do another project.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard. Like sometimes you're just like, you get distracted.
You're so cute and so smart.
Oh, thanks.
We're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break so they can make out on the couch for a second, and we'll be right back with Stained Couch Podcast with Jason Goldberg. So, have you ever done? Do you know about Trip? TRIPP, the app?
No.
So they have it for the Oculus. It's a VR meditation app.
Wow.
Sick.
What?
I had the
You're like,
Oculus. I
bro.
saw that you had it in there.
Yeah.
Bro, download Trip. It is insane. So it's like it's a meditation app, but like you're moving through space and like it's insane.
That's
So it's an
trippy.
open eye meditation.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it's really sick.
Yeah, I tried his Oculus and then I got really scared.
Yo, I got
Like,
a bunch of stuff we could talk about.
dude.
This Oculus stuff.
Did you do the plank? Did you do Richie's
Crazy.
plank?
No, I didn't do that. But so during this quarantine, cheat codes, everything was shut down. We can't play shows. We're like, what should we do? Did a lot of live stream sets, which is cool. And then we did one virtual reality set where we were in the Oculus.
No way.
All 3 members were individually at our own houses, pretending to DJ, and there was a crowd of people in their own respective homes watching the show. And we were
Is your avatar like on stage
like
then?
Bitmoji versions of us.
What?
And one of us was like stage diving. Literally, the people were like holding up their hands.
That's
It's
crazy.
a virtual club. It was so weird. It's trippy.
How was that for you? Was that cool?
It was just funny, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
It was funny, but it makes you. It's basically this place called Alt Space.
Okay.
They create different environments. They have clubs. They have open mic night. They have comedy. People do comedy. Like people do lectures, all kinds of stuff. And you can it's free. It's basically like a MySpace, like a VR MySpace. You pick your spot and then you go and you're socializing with people that are sitting in their house with. So she was like tripped out because I was like, you got to try this. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I put her on there and like some random guy starts talking to her and like, hey, how's it going? What are you doing? And she's like, someone's talking to me. What do I do? What do I do? I'm like, talk back. Say hi.
I'm like, no, who is
Ask him-
this man?
Ask him how he's doing.
Fuck no, it's weird.
They can just talk to you like they're
feels
standing next to you.
weird.
They could just talk to you.
You like walk up to
Yeah, you
people
just
as
walk
you
up
get
to people.
closer, you can hear them louder and louder.
So they have the spatial audio stuff.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
I'm not into it.
You're not feeling that.
I'm not feeling that. That feels weird.
But
Yo.
what if somebody random came up to you at a real concert and started talking to you? Would that weird you out too?
I mean, no, because I can actually physically see what they look like. To me,
Gotcha.
seeing someone's like Bitmoji is weird.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I feel
Feels
like there's
disconnected
going
or
to be
something.
more of that though.
I'm
It
not
was
into it.
there were some funny moments. I went to like a club in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Had a perfect view of the New York skyline. They're playing EDM music, and I walked past these 2 dudes and they're like, "Yo, for real, I'm just trying to find some girls in here. Like, I'm trying to find some ladies." And I swear to God, they're just Bitmoji dudes like walking around. I was like, "Whoa, this is like the future. This is like Player Ready 1 right now."
But people are doing that though. There's
Yeah.
like, are you following like the NFT world?
Yes, that's why I was
my
saying I
God,
got so much
yeah.
stuff to talk about.
Bro,
This is like-
Yes.
so one of my buddies is a part of a company called Genies. I don't know if you've heard of Genies
Okay,
before.
never heard of
but
it.
they're working with like Shawn Mendes and just a bunch of these big stars to create their avatars, and then their avatars have like NFT stuff you can buy for them,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And just I'm still trying to wrap my head around it as well,
Same.
because it's kind of like what I've been hearing, and he's trying. Shout out to Izzy Pollock. Izzy's been trying to get me to understand this stuff, but showing me that it's like like art collectors, right? It's like
Right.
it's like collecting a piece of art that is just yours and it's in the blockchain so that people know that it's just yours and all that stuff. And it's really, really interesting, the implications for entertainment and for like exclusivity in entertainment and the utility of that, not just like a virtual world thing, but like it actually has utility in the real world. Gary Vee was talking about they should create an NFT that's a golden burrito from Chipotle where you get Chipotle for free for life if you own that particular NFT. And so there's like utility for it as well. So what have you seen in that space that's been interesting for you?
It's just so cheat codes. We're actually working on an NFT. We have one dropping in May on Nifty Gateway.
Okay, yeah, Nifty.
So that'd be cool. But as far as like music and art, it's going to change the music industry completely, because the one thing about music, it used to be a supply and demand thing.
Mm-hmm.
You printed so many vinyl, so many CDs, and then at a certain point, albums and vinyls became collectibles. Especially now, but now that it's all digital, there's infinite supply.
Yeah.
So as a musician, you really don't have that much control over your art. It's basically like, well, if Spotify says I can only earn, half a penny for every stream, then I guess that's what I earn.
Right.
You don't have any control. But now with NFTs and blockchain, you could be like, I'm selling this NFT. It's going to cost $100. I'm only selling it for 2 weeks. Go crazy. And if you believe in your art and you think you did a good job on like the quality of the art and you think it's cool and it'll be worth more later, then charge whatever you want.
You go for it.
It's crazy. It's kind of like the cure for piracy. like when the whole like LimeWire piracy happened back in like the 90s or early 2000s, and Metallica was pissed off.
They were so pissed off
because they were like, damn, we made $1 million off our last album, we're making a couple $100,000 off this one, like what the hell is happening? It's like, because we're getting the music for free, bro.
You got to change with the times.
So I think it'll be a game changer for music and art. I mean, and but as far as the VR thing, which made me think of it, was they're literally selling VR real estate now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So as far as the NFT making sense, I think, say 50 years from now, this might be some Matrix talk or whatever, but I think a lot of people, majority of people in the world, will be enjoying their virtual lives more than their real lives.
That's kind of scary though, isn't it?
And you've heard the Great Reset. It's like,
it's weird.
By 2030, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy by it.
Yeah.
Why do you think all this 5G stuff is happening? Is because they want to be able to, on a network, not just be able to send videos and photos. They want you to, on a reliable Wi-Fi network, be able to enter into another virtual reality.
Right. Be able to render entire worlds.
That's why 5G is in the or what is it, AR, augmented reality.
Yeah.
All that stuff can't happen on 4G. It needs to happen on 5G.
Right. Right.
So
It makes my brain
hurt. So within 10 years, everyone, like imagine you're like working a shitty job, you're working a 9 to 5, you're making like 30, 40 grand a year. You can't really afford like a nice house, but in this VR, maybe you spend, instead of spending $400,000 for a house, you spend $10,000 for VR real estate, and it looks fucking amazing. And
Wait. You're telling me that people are buying
VR real estate right now.
For what?
Right now.
So one of the things they're doing, for example, from a utility standpoint, one of the things they're doing is they're buying land, they're building casinos on the land.
Yeah, you can build whatever you want.
And then charging people to come in and they gamble with real money inside, all virtually.
But it's real money. Okay, so
I'm sorry.
But I'm laying this out for you. Imagine like 10 years from now, there's going to be a whole generation of people that they're going to look at, okay, I'm making X amount of money per year. Can't really afford a house like that, but I can afford a house like that in VR. And not only that, I can actually invite all of my friends to come to my VR house in the VR, and we could have just as good of a time. And I don't got to worry about COVID.
But you're not actually there.
Yeah, but you're still talking to them, and you're still having these exact same
how does
conversations.
that make it different from a phone call?
Because
it's immersive.
It's immersive.
Yeah,
it's immersive.
Okay.
And as basic as the technology is now, it's still like mind blowing.
The challenge, the thing that I'm worried about with that though, is that, and this actually is kind of a good bridge into us talking about the cancel culture stuff, is that I feel like there's already so much of a challenge to show empathy and compassion to other humans while we're able to interact in the real world.
Yeah.
Does that get even harder to have?
Because you have infinite lives. You just punch people. And
or it's just like, this is why they say like kids shouldn't be on devices under a certain age, because it stunts their empathetic growth. Right? They're not able to relate to humans the same way. So is this going to change the way we relate to humans if we're spending so much time in a virtual world instead of like doing this?
I don't know. I feel like all that shit is weird, to be honest. And I would never buy virtual real estate ever.
Your kids will.
Yeah, your kids
think
will.
so?
Yeah, 100%.
1,000%.
Okay.
It seems so weird to me.
Right now, you have a cousin and you have a nephew who they spend all their time on Fortnite, and they buy all the suits. Every time there's a new suit comes out, they buy the suits. It's because they want to. Why do we buy nice clothes? Because we want to have social status in the world. People buy these. Fortnite is a free game, but people spend thousands and thousands of dollars because they want to have social status in the game.
Identity.
My little cousins are so
Yeah,
obsessed
and
with Fortnite.
these are like 10-year-olds. These are like 10-year-olds, and they want to
Talking
have
about some V-Bucks.
right. They want to get V-Bucks, and they want to have social
Get some
status in the game.
V-Bucks.
So imagine, okay, there is it's literally a highlight of LeBron James dunking on somebody. It's sold for $200,000. You own a virtual reality mansion that you paid $10,000 for in VR. Invite all of your friends, all of your industry friends. They come check it out, bro. Look at my wall. It's just LeBron James dunking on someone over and over again on a loop, and they know that it's one of a kind.
Yep.
That's what it's a status thing. It's not. There's nothing like the people that are like, I can't wrap my head around this. Like, okay, well, think about art.
Right.
People don't buy art because it's functional.
Right.
They're not eating food off of their art.
Right. And there's also companies that are coming out now, which is kind of what you're talking about there, where there's like the digital art frames, where when you buy a digital NFT piece of art, you can have it projected up onto. Yeah,
that's what I was wondering, actually. Yeah.
There are companies that are doing that as well. So you can showcase the art. But a lot of people who are art collectors, they don't actually hang it up anywhere. It just sits in a warehouse and it's an investment. So it's the same thing with this. You buy a digital piece of art, you own it, you're the only one who can own it.
Yeah.
And people know that you're the one who owns it, and then you can sell it again. Yo, the NFT stuff is going crazy. People are selling
so
artwork
weird to me,
for
though.
6 figures, man. It's like fairly unknown artists making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 off of a single drop
But only you can see it and only you can share it. So it's like, where's the commodity in that? Do you know what I'm saying?
It's the exclusivity of like, this is mine and I can do whatever I want with it. But I can also use it as my avatar on a platform. Like my Clubhouse avatar can be this thing that's exclusive.
Everything that you think the internet.
But if you don't know it's exclusive though, would you think it was tight?
I think that goes to adoption, right?
Yeah. No, it's going to be like this. Okay, so you go on Twitter or you go on Instagram, you see the blue check mark, and that alone, you're like, oh, this person's legit.
Right.
Okay.
Imagine as immersive as the internet is now, it's going to be once 5G is fully integrated, everybody has 5G, it's going to be so much more immersive to where you're going to dive in, you see their Bitmoji, you kind of get the vibe of who they are as a person digitally, and then in their logo, they have some NFT that only they can have in their logo, for example.
Yep.
That's what it's going to be. It's going to be like some crazy stuff like that where like they're wearing the off-white, their virtual off-white, and you think they're cool because of that. Does that make sense?
I don't know. It ain't gonna be me.
You know what it does though? It makes me feel old as fuck.
I swear to God.
Like I'm struggling to understand it, and I'm like, I finally got over the fact that I'll never get Snapchat, and I don't think I need to worry about it.
You don't.
But
it's valuable because it lives longer than our physical bodies.
Right.
Is that my phone?
Yeah, it's yours, baby.
I'll turn it off.
I thought it was just ideas popping in my head.
That's an idea.
It's totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool that you guys are playing with NFT stuff.
Yeah, we're dropping NFTs in May, and yeah. So
sick.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know. But I mean, I have a couple of friends that are in this space, and yeah, they're making good money from it. And I think it makes sense from just like art of the last like 10, 20 years has become diluted in a way because it's, infinite supply.
Right. Absolutely.
All the supply and demand, People did enjoy that physical copy and like they felt like it was a collector's item and they wanted to get all the merch and you want to get the tour t-shirt and some of that's gone away. Like there's some artists that are able to capitalize on it, but most artists it's just digital music and hopefully they get enough streams.
Well, you remember Wu-Tang did this a number of years ago. They sold one copy, right? One physical copy of their album to that like asshole dude. Like,
and he never released it?
Yeah, and he went to jail. This is Martin something or other. I don't know. He was this young douchey dude who was running a pharmaceutical company, and he took some like cancer drug and pumped it up by like 5,000% the price of it, and he ended up going to jail for doing that stuff. But he was the guy, he bought it for like $2 million, this one Wu-Tang album. And yeah, he never released it, but you could do that digitally. You could say if there's only one released, I own it. So you can listen to it. It may be posted somewhere, but I'm the only person who actually owns.
Right. Instead of like releasing it online, you could just hold an event, $100 ticket, pop, come to this warehouse, and I'll just play the album on repeat. And you look at my gallery of expensive artwork that I have. If you really wanted to,
whole different world.
You could. No, you could.
Wow.
You totally could.
And people are just like, God, I want to hear that album so bad. I want to go.
That thirsty though.
It's crazy.
If you're a Wu-Tang fan.
True, which I am. I mean, I would pay for that. I would absolutely pay for that.
It's like you're paying $100 not to see them perform,
right?
Just to hear the album.
I did, yeah, back in the day.
You did.
Yeah, man. It's okay. All right. So this is a bridge though into what I wanted to cover with you guys today is cancel culture. Right, we've talked about this. You guys just did an episode of it on your podcast, which I love listening to, by the way. And it's been something where it's come up for people that I know and love in my own life. And there's even a story now from your own life that we can dive into. For those of you who don't know, I wanted to actually see if there was like a definition. So on dictionary.com, this is literally on dictionary.com, cancel culture it refers to the popular practice of withdrawing support for / canceling public figures and companies after they have done or said something considered objectionable or offensive. Cancel culture is generally discussed as being performed on social media in the form of group shaming. That is directly from dictionary.com. Funny enough,
it's a good definition.
It's a pretty good definition.
Yeah.
Side unrelated note, on the dictionary.com page, the previous word was cake farts.
Wow.
Nice.
So we can take this
There used to be a website called cakefarter.com if you guys want to check it out.
Really?
How did you even know that?
Hey,
when you're like 13 and you're bored on the internet.
The fact that you know that, Maddie, I just love you even more, bro. So that's what we're talking about is cancel culture. And it's a crazy thing. I mean, what it ends up looking like is somebody that has some kind of following says something or does something that offends somebody or some group of somebody's, and people want to withdraw support, which I think withdrawing support actually does not feel like cancel culture. I think it's the attack on the person for what they said.
Totally.
And then going a step further, if that person apologizes, attacking the apology as well.
Exactly.
So we have, just being fully open and transparent here, we have two cisgender white guys guys, so I get that there's a lot of white privilege involved in some of my views about this stuff, which I'm okay with.
100%.
And we have a woman of color here.
That's right.
Who I'm hoping will bring the other perspective, or maybe it's the same perspective. We'll see.
Yeah, totally.
So what do y'all think about kind of the way things are going now with the ease of which it seems a screw up can lead to having all of your support removed and having your career removed?
Well, here's something I liked about that definition was group shaming.
Yeah.
Because I think that's one of the problems of it.
Yep.
Because I think everybody should have a right to vote with their dollar and vote with their attention, because the new economy is attention.
Yep.
People are making money off of our data. Facebook, they're making money off our data. So if I view something, they make money off of that. Mm-hmm. So if you want to vote with that, if you want to say, oh, I don't mess with Aunt Jemima anymore, I find that offensive, I'm not going to buy her syrup anymore, like whatever. I think that's great. But the idea is like a mob and their group shaming somebody.
Right.
I think that's what we're going to need to evolve and change like in the future. There's nothing wrong with speaking out about something, but just the first step is, yo, this is offensive. Everybody should have their right to First Amendment, say whatever you want. I'm speaking out against you, great. Mm-hmm. But then the second step of, if you buy that person's product, then you're wrong.
Yeah.
Not the first person that said the offensive thing, but if you buy Aunt Jemima syrup, then you're just as bad as the person that said the offensive things.
Yep.
That's where I kind of draw the line where I'm like, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Me either, because I'm still gonna fuck up some Chick-fil-A.
She's like, I like Chick-fil-A. I'm sorry.
But that's the entire thing, right? So I am all for, especially, okay, so there's a special angle here, and it's why I love that we're having this conversation here, is that there is a certain level, well, and I guess I'll ask you guys, do you feel there's a certain level of scrutiny you open yourself up to when you are a public figure that is maybe more you have to be okay with dealing with that versus somebody
if you're going after Joe Rogan, then yeah.
Okay, shut up.
Wait, we're going to dive into that.
Don't even get me started on
there was a JRE shaming here.
I don't know. Do I feel like there's a certain amount of responsibility you have as an entertainer? Maybe. Do you know what I'm saying? But then, like, I don't know, because I've been seeing a lot of shit where you're like, people are finding like tweets from like when they were in high school.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they the same person? Can you really come at somebody? But the thing is, it gets real tricky when it's like someone says the N-word. That feels tricky. It's like, you know, someone who's like really popping now, but then like in high school, like there's a video of them like saying the N-word with the hard R. It's like, damn, I want to forgive you, but it's like, that seems to be like your whole personality, your vibe, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's where it comes down to, for me, it's like when it's giant corporations doing something to protect their bottom line, I think they have the right to do that and they should do that. But do you feel weird about that? If somebody said the N-word 10 years ago and you feel weird about that and you're like, I don't know, I don't really enjoy their music as much anymore, and after I heard that, then great.
Well,
like, you know what I mean? Like, totally.
Not that I don't enjoy the music.
But it does
it's not
taint
about the
it.
music.
Doesn't it taint it a little bit?
It taints the idea that I'm supporting somebody that low-key is sus.
Right, exactly.
Suspect,
and I think that's great. I think everybody should vote with their dollar and vote with their attention.
But also, I will say this, because, and not to be, you know, all white, black and shit, but maybe you wouldn't be as offended if somebody said the N-word, you know, 10 years ago, and you could still, you know, listen to their music, because, you know, you can overlook something like that because you're not black. But for me, it's a little harder to overlook something like the N-word with the hard R,
right,
because I am black.
And that's what I was saying.
Right.
I think it's like an individual thing, or like a Louis C.K. thing where it's like, you're like, yeah, is he a creep? Of course he's a creep. But is he still funny? I kind of think he's still funny. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So then, and you're like, okay, well, because other people were offended that he jerked off in front of them, should I not go to his show? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, that's kind of what I'm referring to. It's like, I don't know.
Well, and that's the thing, is that I'm personally okay with. So first of all, I personally think that when you are a public figure, you do kind of sign up for a little extra scrutiny.
You do.
And I've seen. Actually really liked, one of my favorite things is comedians in cars getting coffee with Seinfeld. I think it's awesome.
Love that.
And there was some episode where he was with I think it was Zach Galifianakis, and they were driving. Actually, they actually drove past Rose Cafe in the episode, and they're driving together. And Zach says something like, "Oh yeah, somebody next to us in the car. They're trying to take our picture," and Seinfeld's like, "Yeah, they're trying to fucking take our picture. We're celebrities. Like, that's okay. They're allowed to come up randomly when I'm eating dinner with my family and take a picture of me. I signed up for that.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I signed up for. So I think there is some level of that. And I'm totally okay with people being held accountable for their actions. right? So like if somebody did say the N-word, especially with a hard R 10 years ago, I think we should call them out. I think that the issue becomes, and I've seen this now with two of my friends that have had this happen to them, is that the way people are called out often does not give them a chance to respond. Right. It's meant to be they do it in a way that's polarizing instead of mobilizing. Yeah. So for example, like, and I cannot comment on that because again, I'm not black. But if I look at like, if somebody were to say like, let's say I heard them say kike or something 10 years ago in a video, right? I would take some personal issue with that.
Right.
And
it's going to hit you differently.
It's going to hit me differently for sure. And so I want that person to be held accountable, but I'm not going to go make an inflammatory video that says everybody should boycott this person because they did this thing.
100%.
I would come out and say, hey, listen, I'm really curious about something. I just saw this video 10 years ago from so-and-so that said this thing. I would really love for them to share some kind of statement or talk about, you know, what was going on for them back then.
Right.
Have they taken steps to overcome that? Have they like done it? Like, I want to know more about what's happening. And I want to bring this up to everybody saying, listen, guys, this is a great example of like, that word's not okay.
Yeah,
so like if you're hearing it in your family or your friends, call them out on it. Like I want to use it to mobilize people to actually affect change, not just to add more fuel to the fire.
Totally,
so like, so how do we do that? Like, how do we revamp cancel culture so it's mobilizing instead of polarizing alone?
I think you got to understand where it comes from and understand the media that they're just trying to make money.
Yeah.
And Theo Von brought up a good point about cancel culture where he was like, how much we're getting to the level of cancel culture now where there's going to be people that cancel culture hoaxes, right? If you're Dr. Seuss and you own a bunch of these books, okay, getting kind of old, the books aren't selling as well anymore. How hard is it really, in our minds, let's think about this, to create outrage about some books, about six out of the whole collection, create outrage. I own all these books. Yeah. I own the collection.
This happened.
It just happened, yeah.
Right.
How hard would it be for me as a business to create outrage, go to some of these, like, and the news media loves it. If I went to the news media, like, oh, some of these people think they hate my books, they think they're racist
What
or
are they
whatever.
saying about Dr. Seuss, though?
They basically burned 6 of his books. They took
Because
they're racist.
In what?
One of them has because Dr. Seuss actually used to do war propaganda, like the World War II propaganda. So one of his books, was it the zoo one? Something about the zoo.
I don't remember which
he basically
one it
has
was.
that Asian guy and he has like buck teeth and like chopsticks and it's a very just stereotypical like
Cartoonized, yeah.
version of that. There's a couple other examples too, but anyway, I'm just saying if you were that business, that business benefited from that.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's
so
true.
now we're getting to that level where it's like people are going to have, it's back in like the early 2000s where like tabloids started piling up and people were like, oh my God, it must be so intrusive to do that. But then all these celebrities were setting that up.
Yeah.
They're hitting up their PR saying, oh, I'm at this restaurant with this other celebrity. Like, make sure you get the shot, you know? And it's like, that's where we're at right now. It's like,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I think there's a difference. There's a difference too, I think, between like, you look at somebody like Harvey Weinstein, right?
that doesn't seem like cancel culture.
Right.
That's a crime. He committed a crime.
Right. Objectively, you did something criminal.
Right.
And I think there are a lot of people who are doing things that even if they're not criminal, they're objectively really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like if you can ask or tell like a 10 or a 12-year-old, hey, this thing happened. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? And they say, no, that's bad. That person deserves to be held accountable to the highest level, right?
Right.
But for people that are, and again, cisgender white male, white privilege, if people are, for the most part in their track record, seem to be pretty well-intentioned people,
yeah,
and they slip up and say something that is not appropriate and possibly offensive, and they are held accountable, somebody does call them out for saying it, do they deserve to be canceled as a result of that?
See, the idea, though, is like, for me, I would never say anything like that. So if I do get caught up saying that, it's probably because I say that shit all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like...
That was the first time you were caught.
Exactly.
Got it.
And like for the N-word, the hard R, like to me, that is not the vibe. Like, I don't even say that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like for someone to say that and get caught saying that, it's like, you probably was doing that shit all the time.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's where the issue comes in.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
So,
Yeah, and I think as far as the definition of cancel culture too, it comes down to if something's a crime, that's not really cancel culture. Cancel culture is like in that fine line of everybody has the right to freedom of speech.
Right.
But now if we're going super offensive speech, whether it's like the N-word or whatever, and those groups that don't want you to say the N-word, don't think it's right that you're saying the N-word, they shouldn't
there
buy
has
your
to be a
product.
set of boundaries though. Like there's
Right.
got to be like a certain like certain things that you don't do and just don't say. And I feel like racial slurs to that extent should just be like, you just can't do that.
Okay, but what
does anybody need to be canceled and like not been able to work? Right. No, but what would satisfy me as a black person?
I'm saying cancel culture exists because it's not illegal to say the N-word.
Right. No, I know that, but I'm just saying
that's why it exists.
Totally.
It exists because it's not illegal,
right?
And they want there to be consequences for it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Totally.
So that brings up another thing too. So the N-word in the zeitgeist of our time, it's very obvious. There's nobody, at least in the developed world.
Yeah, that's a pretty clear example.
Pretty clear,
very
right?
Clear.
Yeah. So then what happens when there are emerging things that are new things, like let's say it's pronouns, and it's not something that's a part of the zeitgeist yet, and somebody gets, canceled because they call a transgender the wrong thing.
First of all, let's fucking talk about who's doing this canceling.
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
that's kind of why I brought up the Dr. Seuss thing, because it's like, who is canceling? So it's a bunch of people on Twitter, because these giant corporations, they're kind of taking a small sample size, and they're like, oh wow, because there's 1,000 people on Twitter that are outraged, that must be a majority of the people that buy our products. But in reality, it's not.
Right.
No, it's little ass kids who don't have shit to do, who's out of school.
The Gina Carano thing or whatever, the Mandalorian Disney. So one of the Mandalorian stars got kicked off the show because of stuff she tweeted.
Okay.
Basically, like, I don't know if you know anything about that.
I don't know about this one, no.
She basically was just like, don't be rude to your neighbor, like be nice to your neighbor, because like in Nazi Germany, that's how they made people like mad against the Nazis, basically.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
So they fired her for that.
Wait, I'm so confused.
She basically was just like, we need to be nice to each other. Like everyone's being divisive right now. And
because she used the Nazis as a backdrop?
Exactly.
Right,
because she used that as an example, I guess, then she was kicked off the show The Mandalorian, and it is what it is.
Damn, that seems excessive.
It does seem excessive, and I just think as a company, like if you're Disney or whatever, you're probably looking at it as like, oh, there's a lot of outraged people online, and this is probably a lot of, we're Disney, we're supposed to be like kid friendly,
right?
And this is probably a majority of people that watch the show, but when in reality it wasn't.
And
what I'm saying?
they just cancel her because they don't want to get canceled. You know what I'm
They're
saying?
playing to the lowest common denominator, right? Always.
Yeah.
They're always playing to the money, right?
So I think eventually that's going to come back to haunt some of these corporations where they're like, they think they're doing the right thing for their bottom line,
right?
But then eventually it hurts them because they're turning off, it's like, even if you're protecting 50% of your audience that's outraged, there's still the other 50% that might be like, okay, like I don't even enjoy this content anymore because it's so bubbled up. There's nothing edgy about it anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nobody that's willing to like say something offensive. Some people want to watch something that's offensive. Sometimes people, we were just watching South Park. It's like, that's shit's hella funny because it's offensive. It's like,
you know what I was thinking about the other day? Because I was on the way to set and I was listening to, Encore. Is it Encore by Eminem?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And I was just listening to like, I'm coming out the closet. And I was like, yo, this shit is crazy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, I was listening to this when I was like 13, dude.
They were trying to cancel Eminem like a couple weeks ago.
I'm
swear to God.
Wait, for what?
Dude, never, ever can Eminem ever get fucking canceled.
It was literally like Gen Zers going through his old songs and being like,
hell no.
How dare Eminem? No, the one which they were talking about, the Eminem and Rihanna song, Love the Way You Lie.
Yeah.
And the last verse, he says, if you ever try to leave me, I'll tie your feet.
That's the least amount of shit that he said.
Do you know the line I'm saying?
I don't remember the exact line.
I know what you're talking about.
Basically, in the song, he's basically saying, if you ever try to leave me, I'll tie you up and set the house on fire.
Right.
That's like the last line. And this is like one of the biggest radio songs, like
huge mainstream hit
of that year.
Yeah.
So people are like, how dare he have this lyric from 10 years ago? He should be canceled. And then all the Eminem fans were like, you obviously haven't heard any of his other music.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he literally raps about slapping his baby mom off a bar stool. Like,
right. Like, from a very early, very early on.
Totally.
But I think that's actually funny, though. I think that's one of the reasons that somebody like Eminem would never be canceled, because he has a track record of consistency in his outrage. Right. And I think it's one of the reasons somebody like Donald Trump doesn't get canceled, because he has it's not out of the ordinary.
He got canceled in the way he got kicked off of Twitter. Okay. So that's an example of a company. That's why the companies are starting to do it, which is where it's kind of getting weird. You know what I'm saying? As far as they're enforcing laws that don't exist.
Yeah.
And this may be a stretch, but I've never heard anybody our age being like, that person's canceled. It's definitely like the younger generation.
It's definitely younger. Okay,
100%.
so here's something that brings up something really interesting, I think. So I just finished watching the last Blockbuster documentary on Netflix.
Oh,
Have you
okay.
seen it?
Okay.
No,
I didn't
but
see that.
we have it on our
Watch it. It's really good. So it's the documentary about the last standing Blockbuster store in Bend, Oregon. It's the last one on Earth.
Yep.
And it's really interesting. They talk about the whole Netflix thing, and Netflix didn't put Blockbuster out of business the way I think people think they did.
Right.
Because Blockbuster was also doing the DVD by mail, and they started doing the streaming thing as well.
And they had the blue boxes.
They had the blue box
shit.
as well. So they were trying. They were there, but something major happened with them since they were a public company, and they ended up inheriting like $1 billion of debt on something, and they backed away. They had partnered with Enron, funny enough, to create the online streaming platform. And after they spent all this money, they're like, you know what, we're going to double down on the stores and the mail stuff. And so that's when they started kind of diverging. But the interesting thing that I was just thinking about, that they were talking a lot about in the documentary, is like the nostalgia of like, oh, Friday night you go with your family and you get the video, and it made me think about the fact that our lives have been created and they continue to be created day by day to make things more convenient.
Right, exactly.
And I feel like convenience has a really beautiful, potentially beautiful side benefit of freeing up your time and energy to focus on things that actually matter, right? Like more quality time with your friends and family, or like putting work out into the world. That's great. And on the other side, having too much convenience can make you bored to where you become this like armchair quarterback, armchair activist. And then it's really easy, as long as you have working fingers, to try to shut people's lives down.
100%.
So I'm curious if like you guys think if the Gen Zers, and not trying to call it Gen Z, everybody, a lot of people do cancel culture stuff.
We need to call their asses out.
Okay, fine. Let's call them out. Let's call them out.
Shit.
But the question becomes, if it wasn't so convenient to cancel people, would they still do it? If they had to go to a physical location and fill out a form to say, I want this, they wouldn't do it.
They would not. It wouldn't be as many. It wouldn't be. Nobody has the energy for that many cancellations. Like protest, like outside Dr. Seuss's business.
Right.
Like,
So
cancel these books.
It's convenience-based activism. Right, it's convenience-based activism. So
it's posting the black square.
It's posting the black square. That's
But a lot of it is social media too, because I was telling someone the other day, like when I got into like a fight in like middle school, right?
Yeah.
We got into a fight and the next day it was over.
Yeah.
Now, if you get into a fight, that shit is recorded and sent to everybody.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So like the social media presence is so much harder for these kids. Like you kind of have to live with that shit. So then now you're stuck in this, like, you have to create this persona of who you are online, and it's probably not even who you really are. That is really the issue, honestly.
It's I'm so happy I did not grow up with the social media stuff the way it is now.
Me too, dude.
I had flip phones and the Razor.
Yeah, I had that Razor
was
too.
dope. The Razor was the best phone. I did upgrade to a Sidekick at some point though.
I had the BlackBerry.
I had the Sidekick on the hand too. I'm not even fucking around.
And the stylus?
Were you fucking with BBM?
I was.
What?
BlackBerry Messenger, what's up?
You remember Alicia Keys almost got canceled because
really?
she had a contract with BlackBerry, and then they caught her out in the open with an iPhone.
Oh, wow.
And they tried to
With that
cancel
little
her on
scroll
that.
ball in the middle.
That scroll ball, that little joystick was the worst thing ever. I don't know
you hated it.
It was terrible.
I loved it.
It was so inaccurate.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was terrible. But I think that's an interesting thing about Gen Zers, but about people in general. I know we want to keep it with Gen Zers. Call it Gen Zers. What years? That's 25 years old, I think, to like.
Is it
40 or something?
No, millennial
is 25 to 40.
Oh, millennial. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
you're right. It's much younger. It's I think it's actually 6 years old. I think 6 is where they have the beginning of Gen Z, which is like, why do 6-year-olds need a designation? But
I guess 6-year-olds have phones now.
I guess they do. Yeah, they have phones and identities. So I just think that's really interesting, though, is that it's so convenience based, and my fear is that nobody's actually trying to affect any change,
right?
And we're reinforcing the fact that it's enough to just go online and try to cancel somebody and not actually do any work in the world, and then you think that you're actually helping, but you're not.
Yeah.
Right. So how do we like get people to realize like that's not helpful? Like if you do want to help, great. That's not the way to do it.
Hand out a couple ass whoopings. You feel me? That's all I'm saying.
Right. I just don't think that they know the unintended consequences of what's going to happen.
Is there a consequence,
yes,
though?
there's consequences happening right now, such as self-censoring.
Okay. Me?
Have you self-censored before in your life?
No, I haven't. Shut up.
Okay, but I think most people are self-censoring online because they don't want to get canceled.
I've definitely self-censored.
Yeah,
1,000%.
So now, people do polls. Or like, what do a majority of America think about this, or what do they think about that? Those aren't right anymore. You saw that in the last election. Like, all the polls were wrong. It's because nobody's sharing anything that they actually think because they're afraid. If it's like, oh, this is on the border,
Yep.
But okay. this is how I feel, and we will obviously talk about the story that we have to tell you guys.
Yeah, I want to hear. Yeah, let's go into that next.
For me, I personally don't feel like I can be canceled because the people that I love in my life that are my main friends, those are the people that can cancel me.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, if they're not fucking with me, if they're not trying to go to lunch with me, or like they're not like trying to be a part of my life, then I feel canceled. But like these random ass kids who live in like Bangladesh who are like on there like whatever you reckon, like whatever, like to me that doesn't matter. And I hate to say this, but like even like a lot of my friends have like 1.2 million followers. I will look through their followers and it's like 13-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds from different countries. And so I'm like, this is making up your following, but like, is it quality over quantity?
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Totally.
So like, I don't think I can get canceled.
I think most people, when they hear canceled, they're worried about the financial shit. Like if you did something so offensive that Wilhelmina said, we're going to have to drop you. That would be devastating for you.
Right.
Because you would feel bad. One, you're losing money, but then two, you feel like, damn,
but
did I
there
do
would be
something?
there would be no media outrage that could my agent would be like, oh, like
I know, but
we saw something online. Now, like, you know what I'm saying?
That's what's happening to people where they're like, oh, you're canceled. It's like Crystalia and he gets shot by CIA.
Poor guy.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that happens. You become like you're marked. And like nobody will fuck with you anymore. If you
there's only like a couple major agencies as far as like booking or whatever, you know? So it's like,
dude.
When somebody's like, oh, I dropped him because of this scandalous thing, the other one's gonna be like, should I pick him up? I don't know. Like,
that's fucked up.
So the implication of this, though, is that we get stunted big time in any potential innovation or creativity because people are so worried about censoring themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
all the content that we see is gonna be so blasé, like milk toast.
Yeah. I mean, do you guys think about
edgy.
this? Like, do you guys think about this with music and videos and stuff like the optics, the visuals of the stuff you put together? Are you consciously thinking about that?
A little bit, but not. We're pretty just like do whatever we want. We don't really care. But I do see online there's kind of becoming new tiers, which a lot of creators are doing. So it's like, here's the free, open to everyone tier, and it's going to be more censored and not necessarily exactly what we think, but we're not going to cuss. We're not going to do that. Pay a little bit more, and you get like the real deal. So I think that'll be like the new economy for creators and people that speak their mind. You know,
that's
like,
interesting. So you actually opt in to authenticity, to deeper levels of authenticity.
You were talking about Andrew Schultz. He's like one of the biggest guys on Patreon.
Yeah.
And they do their podcast, and then they do like their Patreon version where it's like balls to the wall, let's just say super offensive stuff the whole
they
time.
They go more offensive on the Patreon.
Yeah, let's make you laugh. Like, let's go ham.
Over him, okay.
Well, okay, all right. So let's talk about this story because you see here. I mean, I don't know if you can catch her feet on camera, but she is.
Listen,
Courtney is in it right now. So tell us about what happened.
Okay. So I love TikTok. And so I was like randomly scrolling, and there was an interview on the Joe Rogan podcast, and Charlamagne the God and Andrew Schultz was on there, and basically they were talking about this. Well, obviously everything can be taken out of context.
I can do the impression if you want.
No, I would rather if you did not do the impression. Thank you very much.
So I feel like
No, we good. Okay, so basically they were talking about this. What's her name? Tessa or Tegan?
I think her name's Tessa, and she was on a magazine.
On the cover of Cosmopolitan.
Okay.
Bigger girl.
Okay.
Bigger girl. I don't even think she was a model. I'm not sure if she is. I've never seen her. Anyways, basically, his tagline is, nothing enrages me more than fat models. Okay, and so then they go in to talk about curve models, which is what I am, and they showed this mannequin that's in the Nike store. And it's basically just like a size 12 mannequin with the workout clothes on. Okay. So, for me, I have a podcast, so I just simply comment like, yo, I'm about to go in on him on my podcast, right?
Yeah. That's what you said publicly.
That's what I said publicly.
Yeah.
Just on the comments.
On the comments,
So, 10, 15 minutes later, hundreds, 200s of comments going in on me. Like, who's going to listen to your podcast? Fuck this chick. Who is this girl? Like, yeah, you and your one follower, you and your one listen, whatever. You're part of the problem. Like, going off on me. And then not even that. Then, because I have my Instagram connected, goes on my Instagram, like, fucking DMing me, like, going off on me. And then we decided to create a video.
Yeah.
I'll let you tell the video, what the video was.
No, I was just like, okay, so let's capitalize on this.
Yeah.
We took that little clip, and then she was just in Tulum. She was shooting for Pretty Little Thing. She had these like bikini, but she looked fire. And I was like, just cut it from there to this caption. How do y'all feel about this fat model? Does it enrage you or whatever? And yeah, that was the post.
And I'm sad to say, you guys, I deleted it.
So because to me, all right. So let's pause right there for a second.
Yes.
To me, that response, that video kind of response, whatever, is a beautiful way to not say he should be canceled for what you said, but instead, I'm the proof. You guys choose whatever you want.
And that's what I was going for.
Right, which is beautiful,
You know what I'm saying? Because I just
yeah.
wasn't like, okay, we'll cancel him. Like, no, it's not that deep. But like, here's an alternate perspective.
Right.
But not that I wanted it to turn out a certain way. It kind of triggered my childhood a little bit, and it really kind of like I don't know. Like I got a little emotional because they were like coming for me, and I'm like, I haven't had to deal with that type of thing in a long time, and it was a lot. It was like they were commenting something called ratio. Do you know what that is?
No.
Do you know what that is?
So getting ratioed is where the trolls on the internet on purpose will make sure you have more dislikes than likes, to where it's overwhelming. So if anybody sees the post, they're like, "Oh, well, this is discredited. Look at the dislikes."
Right.
So it's manufactured. It's
not necessarily manufactured, but it's like they're teaming up to make sure it happens.
Got it.
Like let's ratio them, and then they all.
Wow.
And mind you, like none of those people that I commented on the original post follow me.
Yeah.
So they were like going to my page and like specifically seeking me out. And then I'm like, this is just too far, because then I was like worried, because then I'm like, I live in Hollywood, and I'm like, okay, what if I post a story on my Instagram story? And I'm like, oh shit, like going out to eat, and like they're like, oh well, shit, she lives in Hollywood, and like, you know what I'm saying? And like they know what I look like, and I'm like, what if people are that insane,
right?
That they're like such his fan that they're like following me home, and like I have a little puppy, and I'm like, this is just too much.
Yeah.
And not to say that like I was giving into them, because I honestly don't give a fuck, because I'm just way too old to care about that shit. But it just became more of a problem than it did become me trying to like enlighten Andrew Schultz.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right,
It was just not like balancing. And so I'm like, then I found myself looking at my phone way too often. Like I was seeing the comments and I'm like checking it.
Turn off the
every
notifications.
5 minutes. I was like, what are people saying? And I'm just not about that energy.
Yeah.
It was too much. So I
you gotta create the content and just let it ride. Turn your phone off and go enjoy your night.
I mean,
I just think it points. I just think it points to a bigger systemic problem. And this is not. I don't want people to misconstrue this. That I'm trying to say, if you say something offensive, you shouldn't be held accountable for it.
Right.
1000% you should. At least I believe that.
Yeah.
But I think the larger or deeper, more systemic issue is that we are, especially because of the younger people that are doing this, we are not raising the youth and even adults at our age. We don't have a level of empathy and compassion that we need to have for other humans in general.
Right.
That's the biggest thing to me. And I remember, so another mutual friend of ours that I was telling you a story before we started filming, he made a comment this week that was taken as a racially insensitive comment, and he was called out for it. He did an apology to try to apologize for what he said, and people were just canceling and like F your apology and all this other stuff. And I was checking in with him a couple days ago, and he's getting like death threats in his DMs. You should kill yourself. Like, why don't you just die? Like all these things for this thing that like it was a stupid joke, and it was very bad timing based on the demographic that it was taken in by, or was who it offended. And it made me think of like I did some work in a prison at one point, and I'm working with like rapists and murderers, and it can be very easy to go in there and then just see rapist and murderer, right? That's all you see when you go in. So when they trained us before we went in to do the work, they said just one of the things we want you to keep in mind is imagine if you were only remembered for the worst thing you ever did. Right. And that was your title in life, right? And I think about me, and I feel like I'm a pretty good person. And if I think about like the worst thing I ever did, I don't want to be defined by that at all, right? At all.
Hell no.
Yeah, it sucks, right? So it just feels like there's such a lack of compassion and empathy. And we can have, in my mind, we can have accountability and compassion and empathy to understand why people say these things and to bring light to it and make sure people understand that this stuff is going on in case they're ignorant to the fact that it's going on, and to choose to do better. And that's my biggest concern, is like more than whether or not we should apologize, more than whether or not somebody should be called out. It's the basis of, do we just not give a shit enough about other humans to realize they're real people? And when you message them saying you should kill yourself, it's a real person receiving that message.
I think that we as this generation need to step up and talk to them, because like, you know what I'm saying? Like no one, when you got your ass kicked back then, like we took that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When I got bullied, my cousins were roasting the shit out of me. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was with my cousins at my family house, so when I got to school, it was like, dude, whatever. Like my cousins just did the most damage. So like it's fine. I don't think that these kids nowadays are experiencing that level of humility. And I'm not saying bullying is right.
So we need to humiliate
No,
them.
I'm not saying like we should be bullying kids, but there's a certain like toughness that we got when we were younger, because it's like, you know, we're getting roasted. Now you can't say anything to anybody, so everyone's super sensitive.
Right.
And so I don't know. I think it's the younger generation who can't take anything.
Yeah.
They can't take anything. They can't take any jokes. And I feel like that is the issue. It's
Right.
really
I
the
mean,
issue.
going back to your friend's story, I just think you can't cave to the mob.
Yeah, so tell me about this. So what do you think about like apologies when it comes to doing something where you're called out on it?
I think if there's nothing to be sorry for, then don't apologize for it. Like, don't apologize for their perspective that you should be sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're like, oh,
okay, but
I
could
was
you be
making...
sorry for the miscommunication?
I'm just saying I know his story specific.
Yeah.
His friend's specific story, and I wouldn't be sorry for that. It's
No,
like,
I wouldn't either.
hey, I made a joke. I guess it wasn't a good joke.
You didn't hit right. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, it was a bad joke. I mean, I wasn't trying to offend anybody. Like, the intent wasn't to offend anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, okay, what is there exactly to be sorry for? If you're like, that's kind of like the new thing. If you're a comedian, you can kind of get away with more stuff. So it's like, we should just all call ourselves comedians.
I guess.
It was a bad
That's
joke,
true,
guys.
yeah.
I was trying to make a joke. It was bad.
I was testing material.
Yeah, I was testing new material.
Yeah, I
But
guess.
I had it happen to another friend though, on a much bigger scale, and somebody like went for this person hard.
Damn.
Like created a whole video that ended up getting like millions of views, and
Wow.
it was this big thing. And that friend that it happened to, never responded to it, never justified, never rationalized.
What
never,
happened?
And it eventually went away, and it
Wow.
didn't. It really
Right,
didn't
yeah,
affect,
exactly.
Didn't affect their world very much at
Wow.
all.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point earlier is you can't really get canceled unless your boss is firing you.
Right.
So if you have your own platform, you have your own content, and obviously like some of these social platforms are banning people and censoring people now, which I think is a little crazy. Some of them probably should be, but maybe not as much. But even that, you can create your own, Patreon, or you can have your own content on like your own server. There's different things that you can do. So it's like, I just think you need to be as self-sufficient as possible.
Yeah.
Create your own, culture and your own content, and then who's going to cancel you? It's like, okay, if you're Kevin Hart and they don't want you to be at the Oscars, okay, you're lost. Like, I'm still going to write my own jokes and people are still going to come see me.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
You can't really
It's a
cancel
good point.
me.
I mean, it's a good point that the way distribution of content works now, you don't have to. You can create a container where you do your own thing and people opt in to that container, whether it's Patreon
Yeah,
or
and
OnlyFans or
those
whatever.
corporations, if they don't want to be a part of your profits or your attention that you gained, then that's their loss in a way,
Yeah,
If you're canceling Kevin Hart for something he did 10 years ago in a joke, it's like, okay, well, he has a massive following. You know that people will buy his stuff or buy his movies, and if you don't want to be a part of that, then that's fine.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's totally fine if they want to do that,
And I want to make one more very, very clear distinction. I've said it a couple times, but I want to be really clear. This does not apply to hate speech. This does not apply to things that are obviously and objectively terrible and illegal and everything else. We're talking about people who slip up or who say things that are offensive without maybe realizing it, or having it be bad timing for the thing, or just it slipped their mind. We're doing so much live content now that we don't have a chance to edit the things we say, after we say them. So for people out there that are watching, and maybe even parents that have kids that are watching, what do you think we can do to be teaching the people who would typically try to cancel people how to more effectively communicate that they are upset about something somebody said?
I think they need to read the 4 agreements.
That's actually a really good idea.
Okay,
Do
explain
you know
the
what
four.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's because
yeah.
it's
Explain the
like
4
nothing
agreements.
is personal.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so I think a lot of it is like these young kids feel like they're standing up and doing the right thing, but you can't take things personal. You can't. And like what you may find offensive, like I feel like people want to do the right thing ultimately. By canceling, they're just like, okay, we feel like we're doing the right thing by eradicating someone from the community. But in reality, it's like, just relax.
Yeah.
Relax a bit. It's always nice to like be mad at something and then take a step back and actually think about it. I feel like sometimes you react so fast that you don't even have time to really think about it.
Yep.
So I think it's just, educating yourself, reading books, not taking things personally, and maybe having a conversation with someone who's older than you. Do you know what I mean? And asking for their perspective.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
So what are the 4 agreements?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember. It's so long.
Don't take anything
Just
personal.
don't take anything personal.
Always do your best.
You're something
Be
with
impeccable
intention
with your word.
Yep.
And then, what's the 4th one?
Something.
You guys know? Luke, did you ever read the 4 agreements?
Yeah.
You would like it, Luke.
Yeah, you'd love it.
Yeah, but I mean, just
yeah.
the not taking things personal
Exactly.
is a big thing.
Exactly.
I think that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
But
think, man?
yeah, I
Not
just
you trying to call me out for the 4 grams.
no, I was just curious.
curious.
I was just curious.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, now
I'm
you
not trying
curious.
to cancel your book
Okay, now
choices.
you curious.
Oh, 4 agreements is very offensive to me.
I don't like even numbers. Even numbers remind me of my heritage.
I think art and the industry of art, whether it's entertainment industry or whatever, I think it is changing. The business of it is changing to where creators are more empowered. And I think there's a reason for that. And I think part of this culture war is part of that as well. It's like, I'm not safe. I can't just be an employee and get, work for these Warner Brothers pictures for the rest of my life. That can't be the only thing that I do.
Also, I feel like white people getting called out way more. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a little tough. I feel like the cancel culture is hitting the white folks hard.
There's a little bit of a double standard for sure.
Yeah.
Like you could see a white guy say something and then like a black person say the exact same thing, and people are just like,
Well,
oh,
do you know
well,
what the country singer, what's his name?
Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen.
I don't.
Okay. Well, so, and this is what is troubling me. He basically was caught saying the N-word, but he was saying it to...
He said it to his white friend.
He said it to his white friend. He was like, yo, come get this blank, the N-word. But, okay, I know this sounds tricky. Did he say ER or A?
Right.
Okay, and I'm not making either one right because as a white person, you shouldn't be saying either.
Right.
But it hits different.
There's an intention.
Exactly.
It's different. Yeah.
Because I have a lot of white friends that if they said that and they were drunk, I'm probably not gonna love it. But if they said the ER, that's out.
Right.
That's done.
Right.
But if they said the A and they were joking and they were fucking lit, maybe a pass.
Right.
More of a pass than if you said the ER.
Right.
So I feel like, damn, I feel bad for that guy because I don't know. I think he said the A and now people are like completely done with him.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like there's a little wiggle room. A little bit.
Yeah, but that's another example of I think he'll be fine. I mean, he does country.
Oh, you think he'll be fine?
Yeah, he does country music.
Okay.
Do you think a majority of his audience is black?
I mean,
probably not.
Probably not.
But
He's going to lay low for a little bit, and he's going
Okay.
to come back and still be like one of the biggest country artists in the world and
Got it.
be fine.
Yeah.
I
But I mean,
guarantee
the
it.
record label and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? Are they going to be like, feel like they're responsible if they don't like drop him? You know what I mean?
Right, but even that, it's like, what are they going to do? Let him out of his deal, and then he releases music independently and makes hella dough?
Right.
Or they look at what revenue are we potentially losing by keeping him on, and then they
Right,
look
that's
at the fan
what I'm
base.
saying.
Right,
That's what
Right,
I'm saying.
exactly,
If this was a different genre, he would have been dropped from his label. Blah blah. He's a country artist.
Yeah.
I don't think he was dropped from his label. I don't think.
Yeah,
I could
yeah.
be wrong.
Sure.
But
But yeah.
Yeah,
Poor guy.
it's a crazy time, man. I just want something I learned from one of my mentors, a woman named Byron Katie. Do you guys know Byron Katie?
No.
Do you look at her work? Amazing work. I love Byron Katie. So one of the things that she says is there's nothing you can say about me that I can't find to be true somewhere about me, right? No matter
Right.
what you call me, I can find some instance in time where I was that.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like if all of us could look at people that are doing these things in the world and they go, oh my God, that person said something offensive. Where have I said something offensive? Maybe not the same type of offensive. Where have I said something offensive? Doesn't mean you don't hold them accountable and call them out and figure out ways to bring that to light so everybody realizes that's not okay.
Yeah.
But the energy of, I've done that too, and it's still not okay, and that reminds me that it's not okay for me in other ways, so I'm going to check myself and I'm going to check you at the same time. That hits different than I'm amazing, I'm wonderful. I would never say anything like that person
Right.
said, so let me take them down.
Totally.
It's just a whole different energy.
Yeah, and the idea of like, so say one of your friends says something offensive, you'd be like, yo, can I talk to you for a second?
Yes.
Versus like, yo, everybody in the room,
Right.
you know what I mean? That just feels so like disingenuous and like not like, that's not helping anybody.
Right.
That is the issue.
Right.
It's like, it's the public shame.
Right.
If you really cared about somebody saying the N-word and like they were your friend, you'd pull them aside and be like, yo, that shit was fucked up.
Right. Here's why this is not okay.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the issue. I feel like people need other people's validation to be like, yo, this is wrong, right? This is wrong, right?
Right.
And that's the issue. And that's why the younger generation just needs some guidance.
Yep.
Straight
Absolutely.
up.
And I think if you actually track, and it would probably be hard to track anyways, but I'm pulling this out of my ass.
Yeah.
If you were to track the number of people who were canceled that it then led to some kind of meaningful systemic change, you'd probably find zero correlation.
Right.
Right.
100%.
It just I don't think it works that way. That like somebody getting canceled for saying something inappropriate changes the proliferation of that offensive thing being said across our entire culture.
I agree.
So I just think there's maybe a better way to handle it. I don't know. What the hell do I know?
Yeah.
I'm going to get canceled for this entire
Oh my
conversation.
God,
so
shut
it's
up. No,
totally
you're
fine.
not. My life have anything to do with it. Black community got your ass.
Is there an expiration date on my black card, by the way?
You got it. You got it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. So what else is exciting with you guys? And you got a COVID canine. You got a COVID puppy, didn't you?
Oh my God.
I mean, not a puppy that has COVID.
like,
you
wait,
got a
he
puppy
got COVID.
during you got a puppy during COVID.
Yes,
Tell us about the puppy.
Oh my God, he's so cute, and his name is Nugget. And
Of course it is.
It's Nugget, and he's a Chihuahua Beagle.
Is it a hard T or is it? No, I'm just kidding.
No, Nug. I call him Nug. But you know what? I don't even call him Nugget, to be honest. I call him Tootie. Tootie.
Wait, are we talking like
Tootie
facts of
and
life?
Yeah, but like Tootie because he like when he was a baby, he was like passing gas a lot.
Oh, what kind of dog is he?
Chihuahua Beagle. So he's
Beagle.
so he's basically a
interesting.
small beagle.
Oh, that sounds so
But
cute.
yeah, he looks just like a beagle, but he's just a small version, and he like fits in my purse.
No way.
He's so cute.
How do you feel about this little nugget?
Yeah, he's great.
He
He's
loves
really
him.
smart. I feel like Beagles are really smart.
Yeah, like
Beagles are smart.
He will bring his bowl to me.
Really?
Yeah,
He
like, that's the
tips
shit he's
when
on.
it's empty. He tips it over.
But he looks at you like,
You must make sure you see it.
and then brings it.
Wow.
Very smart.
That is insane. So when did you get him?
Gosh, I got him last year, August. Well, no, he's born August 4th,
Okay.
2020. I got him October 17th, 2020.
Wow.
I'm a real mom.
You're a mom of an
I'm a real
infant right
mom.
now.
You know his birthday.
I know he's a Leo.
So how has that been for you guys, like to co-parent?
Well, I'm like the main parent. He's just
I was
like
like co-parent.
he's just there. He's just there for the fun, I guess. But it's been interesting for me because like I used to party a lot, and I kind of still do party a lot.
Yeah,
but it's just nice to be able to have that responsibility of like coming home and like, oh shit, like my puppy's waiting on me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's been interesting. And it's also nice having something to be super excited to see you when you get home.
That is nice.
You know? And
you don't
they're-
wag your tail for her, man? Come on.
No. But yeah, and he's so cute, and he's one of 8.
Wow.
Yeah, he's one of 8.
Why didn't you bring him with you today?
We probably could have, yeah.
You totally
I
could've.
wanted to, and I was like, okay, well, maybe he doesn't have a backyard, but he's so
That's
cute.
true, there's no
yeah.
backyard.
Yeah, there's no backyard.
Oh my God, it's
But,
so cute. I
yeah.
want to meet him. I
You
totally
absolutely
wanna
have
meet him.
to. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So endearing.
All right, so we have this thing that we do on the show.
Oh my goodness.
It's the final question I ask everybody, and I should have primed you for this before, but I didn't.
God.
And we're gonna get into some depth right now, right? So this is some deep shit right here, okay? So name of the podcast is the Jason Goldberg is Ruining Podcasting Podcast, and when I talk about the word ruining, I'm talking about thinking of ways to do things that may be improbable or impractical or unpopular or unfamiliar, just trying to do things in a new way. And so one of the things I like to ask all of my guests, and we actually have a pillow here that you guys will sign. You will ruin my pillow, right? Because we're just trying to ruin stuff wherever we can. And as you are signing the pillow, I would love to know from both of you if there's something that you can ruin before you leave this planet. A belief system, a way people do things, a way people think about things, an industry, whatever it is that you would like to disrupt or ruin or have seen or done differently. What would that be? What is it that you would want to ruin?
Oh my God. I don't know how to put this into words, but I think I have one. I would like to ruin the idea that we're separate. Because sometimes I run into ideas of like, oh gosh, this is probably gonna be canceled, but I think that as I know, fuck. Okay, let me just make sure I say this right. Okay, as a Black person, there's this idea that we want this togetherness and we want this community, right? And we want to be treated as equal. But then at the same time, I think there's this idea that we also separate ourselves. You know, it's like we want to be accepted and we want to be loved, but then we tell white girls they can't wear braids. And I understand that there is a root and like there's a root where, you know, we want people to respect our culture. But at the same time, like what's the problem with sharing beautiful things like that? You know what I mean? So I just really want to eradicate the idea that like in order for us to come together, like we have to be like on this like separate but equal type shit. And yeah, like we're the same and like love is love.
I love that.
You know?
You ain't gonna get canceled for that.
All right, cool.
I got you.
She's just saying because she wants white girls to be able to wear braids.
Well,
Right, that's the entire
but a lot
thing.
of my Black friends are fucking pissed that I say that though. And
Really?
they're pissed. They're like, "What do you mean? Like Black? Like when we wear it, it's ghetto, you know. But when they wear it, it's seen as cool." And I understand that feeling because I have experienced that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, dude, like at the end of the day, when someone tries to copy you, that's a form of what is it? Flattery.
Yeah.
And so it's like you have to understand, like, Black women are so beautiful that people do try to look like us, and that's okay. You know, and if people are monopolizing off that, then that's fine too. But we're gonna get our money the way we get it. Right. And I'm not gonna hate on you because you're making money off looking like me, because you will never be me.
Right.
So it's like, I think there just needs to be a level of okayness with that. And this whole divisiveness where we're like, we're not fucking with that, and like they're trying to take our man, needs to end. Like, we are all the same queens, and like we're all the same. And I just think that there needs to be like a bridge that happens between white women and black women. That like, I'm trying to build that bridge, because whatever this weird ass vibe is of like hating on each other, that shit's done. It's so done.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Totally. I love that.
Yeah, that's what I want to ruin.
Celebrating the cultures instead of
100%,
instead of all the yeah. And you said something, Matt, on the episode you guys did about cancel culture as well, that really hit home for me. And you were saying if aliens came to the planet, right,
exactly,
then there wouldn't be this conversation of like, what are you, like black or white or Hispanic? It'd be like, I'm human.
Yeah.
Right? Because it'd be aliens or it'd be humans.
Yeah.
And so it's like that. If that was the case, if it was all just humans, it's like, I'm inspired by the way you did your hair. And as a fellow human, I'm going to do my hair 100%. Like that as well. Right.
Also, if the aliens is listening, come grab your girl. Come grab your girl. I'm ready to go.
I'm trying to see the stars.
I'm trying to see the stars.
Elon is already with the aliens. Like they're tight. They're super tight. So just get tight with Elon. He'll make sure you're on the spaceship. You'll be totally fine. I love that though. So I'm gonna give you this to sign while Maddie is giving us his answer. Maddie, what do you want to ruin, man?
I just want to ruin the idea that we need something like the government or a bigger entity, corporation, whatever, to help us to live a good life. And I just want to get back to like individual rights and communities and families and friends helping each other, because all this stuff is not real. All this stuff of like, please save me, please save me.
Yeah.
And you know, once you start getting older, you realize that you're like, oh, like I'm on my own. Like, I gotta protect myself 100%. Out here. I gotta really do this. So, you know, when you're younger, you kind of think like, oh, I'm gonna fall into this like system. I'm gonna be a cog in a machine, and then they'll take care of me. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
You gotta get it how you live.
Yeah, you can have the most boring job in what is like Jim Carrey said this. He was like, my dad was an accountant, and he worked there for like 30, 40 years, and he had the most boring job. He said that maybe he could have been a great comedian, and then he got fired. He thought he became an accountant or whatever because he thought it was a safe, steady job, and he maybe could have fallen like another dream, but he didn't, and he still got fired. So it's like you can't just, I don't know. Yeah,
he says you could fail at what you don't like, so you might as well try doing what you love.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
I love that. And that actually goes back to what Courtney said too about the separateness, about not having separateness. If we didn't have separateness, we'd support each other more. We wouldn't have 100%. To rely on bigger entities for sure.
Oh, okay. I was
and you know what? I saw this funny ass tweet. Like, someone said that humans had the capability to create their own realities, and we chose racism and credit scores. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Like, damn. Like,
all
that's
that
what
possibility.
We are. That's what I'm saying.
All that possibility.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so funny.
Man, I've loved having y'all on the show.
Yes,
thank you so much for coming out. And I'd love for you to tell us what are you excited about that you're working on now? Where can we find you? Where can people continue the conversation? Where can they come to cancel you in particular, Courtney?
God,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding.
Yeah, so I'm getting my real estate license.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, I heard you say that. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm working on. Also, yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna be in like a dog mom right now and just like hustling on the grind, saving my money, saving for taxes, fuck my life. You know, so yeah, just trying to stay on the grind, trying to be consistent. Also, trying to go on cleanses and just like trying to be like more conscious and like, you know.
Were you inspired by his 20-day?
Oh, listen. So I sent him that cleanse.
Oh, wait, are you done now? You're 20-day. You're done. Sorry,
I've been eating good.
Yeah.
We ate good before we got here.
You got the itis.
No, I lost like 15 pounds and felt really light. I still feel really light. But yeah, no, it was good because I was raw vegan for like 20 days.
Yeah.
So now I'm more of like a 3 or 4 days on. A couple days, like weekends off.
Yeah.
You're cheating. It's a cheating vegan.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's more what it is.
Cheating. Yeah.
A cheating who got a cheagle. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So you want to focus more on that as well, doing more of that kind of stuff.
And I'm actually going to go on the cleanse he was on, probably April 5th.
It's good. I feel like it breaks certain addictions you have to certain foods, whether it's like salt or bread or processed stuff. Chips for me. Chips for me. I love chips.
What kind of chips?
Salt and vinegar. There's actually this brand you guys should check out. Zapp's Voodoo flavored chips.
Tell them the truth. Ooh. You eat Pringles on the daily.
I do eat Pringles, but that's just because those are like the common chips. But Zapp's Voodoo chips, harder to find. They're like Louisiana style.
Yeah.
But they're the best.
How do you spell it?
Zapp's, Zapps.
Zapps.
And then Voodoo. flavored.
I'm gonna look
Voodoo
that up.
Heat.
Voodoo Heat is the spicy version of that flavor,
Okay.
but Voodoo is like the.
This is not the clear bag, is it? The clear bag
It's
with
like-
a black label on it?
Yes.
No. It is, okay.
It's not clear, but
Okay.
yes. It's kind
Okay.
of like aluminum foil-y vibe, looking red.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've seen those
You've
before.
seen it. You've
Okay,
seen it
like
for sure.
Erewhon or something.
Sometimes
It's a
they're in-
$47 bag of chips.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't think it's.
Not that expensive?
No, it's not that expensive.
I'm gonna check them out.
Erewhon, fuck.
Erewhon is just.
Anyways.
Do y'all
But-
shop at Erewhon?
Fuck no.
Wow.
No,
Okay.
no,
Strong
absolutely
reaction.
not. That's so disrespectful. Like people who are like spending $1,000 on their groceries, just like shut the fuck up. You just want to be seen.
You know,
in Erewhon.
New York Times did an article about Erewhon as being the place to be seen.
It's so annoying.
No joke.
That and Equinox, even though I have Equinox. But I'm just saying, Erewhon is just like, it's totally a scene. It's like, you should not be paying $10 for like a little fucking chocolate bar. Like, it's crazy.
Non-LA people, Erewhon is a very, very expensive supermarket here. And Courtney has an opinion on it.
Don't go there. Save your money. You know, get a membership at the Soho House, okay? If you really want to be seen.
So you're doing the real estate license.
Yes.
You got your dog mom thing. You're doing some
Yes.
healthy cleanse stuff.
Yes.
Anything else?
Oh my God, am I doing anything else, babe?
Well, you can find us on the most cancelable podcast on the internet. I'm Not Racist, My Friend's Black.
Yes.
Definitely check that out. We got links in the
Please
show
check
notes for
that
that.
out.
1,000%.
Yes.
And your IG handle, you are.
The Supreme Court, but THA because obviously the other one was taken. So THA Supreme Court.
You got it.
Supreme Court.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen as we
Yes.
speak. Matt, what's going on in your world?
Yeah, cheat codes. We got some shows coming up next weekend, Fort Lauderdale, and I forgot the other one, but yeah. Fort Lauderdale.
South Carolina,
South Carolina, I
North
think.
Carolina,
But
Charlotte,
yeah,
and Chicago.
Yeah, cheat codes. We got shows coming up next weekend and the weekend after. So
Also
check us
Mexico
out.
City in October if you're down.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm definitely. I actually haven't been to Mexico City. You guys like Mexico City was like cheat codes #1.
It's one of our
like,
bigger cities, like for fan bases and
Yeah.
stuff.
So
Yeah,
interesting.
but festivals are coming back, guys, in the fall.
Yeah.
Officially.
Man, I'm so.
They really are.
Is Coachella coming back this year?
I don't think so.
No, because that's like an April thing, I
Oh,
think.
Yeah.
it's too early in the year.
Yeah.
But they have Life is Beautiful, which
In
is
Vegas.
in Vegas, September.
Nice.
Except Rocky,
Nice.
Tame Impala. Yeah.
Electric Zoo is back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But don't y'all have an album coming out too? A new album coming
Yeah,
out?
working on a new album, new music,
Yeah.
new record deal.
Amazing.
Yeah. We're actually like more independent now, like own all of our stuff. So it's
Yeah.
exciting. We can do whatever we want. Go
So
crazy.
dope.
NFTs, all the crazy.
Something coming out with
NFTs.
Tinashe too.
Got a song coming out with Tinashe coming
Nice.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, crushing it. Okay, so
We have a lot of stuff I always just forget.
I'm all your
like,
fucking manager and shit. I'm like, yo,
do
Mexico
I
City.
got?
And I'm like, damn, do you know?
So Instagram, we'll put Cheat Codes Instagram on here
Yeah,
as
yeah, that's
well.
cool.
And also Matthew Russell Official, we'll get you up there as well. And yeah, guys, just absolutely loving the door,
Yes,
y'all. Thank
we
y'all so
love
much for
you,
coming
of
out.
course.
We'll hang out again soon. I'm super down for Mexico City in October.
do it.
Done.
Let's
Sold.
do that.
It's a hot air balloon festival.
What?
That's
Wait,
right.
so the
In Mexico
particip-
City.
like the attendees are in.
I think you can go in hot air balloons. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So you gotta
That
be
is
on
some-
stage shaking some champagne on some people, you know?
That is some real
You
baller
know?
shit.
Hell yeah.
That is
Yeah.
some super baller shit. Wow. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching the show. Follow these incredible people. And of course, don't forget to rate and review, subscribe on whatever platform you are watching it on. And until next time, we love y'all. Peace. That's all I got for you today, folks. If you love this episode, please make sure to follow us on whatever platform you're listening to it on. Give us a 5-star review and a rating. So helpful for us, especially starting this podcast. Give us a great review if you love the show. Tell all your friends about us. Screenshot this and post it on Instagram and tag me in it so I can send you some love back. DM me with any of your feedback or any questions, and let's keep ruining shit together. Sending you guys so much love and cannot wait to see you again super soon. Peace.